Chapter 1380. After a while, except for Luna, all the divine race soldiers who came to encircle Mo Chingyun were killed. After killing the divine race soldiers, Mo Chingyun took out the Iron Blood Order and collected their essence blood. After collecting the blood essence of these god race soldiers, Mo Chingyun took Morong Chinyu to see Luna. Before long, Mo Chingyun and Morong Chinyu arrived in front of Luna. Captain Luna. Morong Chinyu looked at Luna in front of him and showed a guilty expression. Then he said to Luna in front of him. Seeing Morong Chinyu and Mo Chingyun standing together, Luna was surprised. She said in an indifferent tone, "Chinyu, why are you with him? Are you a spy that he planted in the divine race?" "No. It's not like that." Hearing Luna's words, Morong Chinyu quickly shook his head and denied. He explained to Luna, "It's like this. Chingyun and I both came from a subordinate continent. We have known each other for a long time. However, I came to the wild continent by crossing the void. Chingyun came to the wild continent through the immortal race's wild convention." Morong Chinyu explained the general situation to Luna in detail. After listening to Morong Chinyu, Luna's expression became clear. She didn't doubt Morong Chinyu's words. "If that's the case, then you're not a god?" After thinking for a short time, Luna had a general understanding of Mo Chingyun and Morong Chinyu's identity. In her knowledge, people who came from affiliated continents were immortal race's younger generation. Therefore, it was impossible for Mo Chingyun and his companion to come from a subordinate continent to be part of the god race. "I'm not very clear about this." Hearing Luna's question, Morong Chinyu showed a perplexed expression and said, "But both of us have divine race blood in our veins, so we can't be considered as a mortal race. Both of you came from affiliated continents, but both of you have divine race blood in your veins. That's really interesting," Luna said with a slightly mocking smile. Her expression showed that she was taking pleasure in others' misfortune. "If immortal race people know about your secret, I'm afraid your situation will be even worse." After saying this, Luna showed a proud sneer and said, "Chinyu, you told me this information, aren't you afraid that I'll spread it?" "I believe Captain Luna." Morong Chinyu's expression was sincere as he firmly replied. Hearing Morong Chinyu's words, Luna's expression slightly changed. She was moved. After being moved for a short time, Luna's expression turned cold. She looked at Mo Chingyun and Chinyu with ridicule in her eyes and said, "Chinyu, you and I are acquainted. Since you trust me so much, I will keep this matter a secret for you. You should be careful in the future." "Thank you, Captain Luna." Seeing Luna's attitude, Morong Chinyu immediately showed gratitude and cupped his hands to thank Luna. After thanking Luna, Morong Chinyu turned to Mo Chingyun and requested, "Chingyun, Captain Luna has treated me well, please give me face and let her go." Hearing Morong Chinyu's request, Mo Chingyun showed a thoughtful expression. He was hesitating whether he should let Luna go or not. He had a panoramic view of Luna's every move just now. He can see that Luna's true thoughts are not what she said. If he let Luna go, it's hard to guarantee that she won't divulge the secret and origin of Mo Chingyun and Morong Chinyu. However, since Morong Chinyu has spoken, Mo Chingyun naturally wouldn't refuse. If Luna has evil intentions, then after I let her go, she will definitely bring a large number of divine race soldiers to invade us. Mo Chingyun quickly thought and immediately came up with a plan to prevent Luna from harboring evil intentions. If Luna brings a large number of divine race soldiers to invade us, then I will be able to save some trouble. I won't need to lead the divine race soldiers into the formation. After thinking about it, Mo Chingyun made a decision in his heart. He looked at Luna with an indifferent expression and said, "For Chingyu's sake, I'll spare you this time. If there is a next time, I won't spare you." After Mo Chingyun's words fell, he opened a gap in the formation and threw Luna out. "Chingyun, thank you." Seeing Mo Chingyun's action, Morong Chinyu smiled sweetly at Mo Chingyun. "Fool, you don't need to thank me. Emo Qingyun revealed a gentle expression. He stroked Murong Qingyu's beautiful hair and looked at Murong Qingyu in the eyes. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Murong Qingyu couldn't help but feel happy. Her face turned red as she buried her head in Emo Qingyun's chest. Outside the formation. When Luna left the formation, her expression turned gloomy. Her eyes revealed a sinister look. Murong Qingyu, I didn't think that you would be able to disguise yourself so deeply. You want me to keep your secret? Dream on. Luna angrily said before rushing towards the Divine Race camp. She was prepared to report Emo Qingyun's identity. After a while, Luna arrived at Naimon's tent and reported Emo Qingyun's matter. I didn't think that this Emo Qingyun would actually come from an affiliated continent. After learning about Emo Qingyun's history, Naimon sighed with emotion. A kid from an affiliated continent can actually grow to this extent. He really isn't simple. He really isn't simple. But this kind of person can't be allowed to live. Although the fifth prince resented Emo Qingyun, he had to admit that Emo Qingyun wasn't simple. Naturally, the fifth prince's killing intent towards Emo Qingyun became more and more intense. Since the formation Emo Qingyun is in has a large star's ghost, ordinary people won't be able to do anything. Recalling Luna's words, Naimon's brows slightly wrinkled. He pondered for a moment and said, The immortal race's constellation commanders are staring at us. We don't have a chance to make a move. It seems like we can only send the large star's ghost. Yanxi, Jinwei, Jiangzhe, you three will lead 10 squads and follow Luna to kill Emo Qingyun. After thinking for a while, Naimon ordered the 3 youths in front of him to lead troops to suppress Emo Qingyun. Yes. Hearing Naimon's order, Yanxi and the other 2 didn't dare to hesitate. They immediately went with Luna to kill Emo Qingyun. After leaving Naimon's tent, Luna led Yanxi and the others to Emo Qingyun's formation. After a quarter of an hour, Luna led Yanxi and the others into Emo Qingyun's formation. So fast. Looking at Luna and the others, Emo Qingyun showed a playful smile as if he was looking at prey waiting to be slaughtered. But seeing Luna and the others, Murong Qingyu's mood was the exact opposite. Captain Luna brought people here so fast. Did she leak the secret between me and Qingyun? Looking at Luna and the others, Murong Qingyu's face showed a painful expression as if she was greatly deceived. Chapter 1381. While Murong Qingyu was puzzled, Emo Qingyun's figure flashed and arrived in front of Luna. Seeing Emo Qingyun and Murong Qingyu appear, Luna's face immediately showed anger. She glared at them and angrily said, Murong Qingyu, you traitor, quickly admit your mistake and accept your punishment. Hearing Luna's words, Murong Qingyu's beautiful face changed. Her expression showed some guilt. She had always been by Luna's side. She had always been under Luna's care. Now because she was with Emo Qingyun, she stood on the opposite side of Luna. This made her feel somewhat guilty. Of course, while Murong Qingyu felt guilty, she also felt some pain and disappointment. Luna had clearly promised her that she would keep her relationship with Emo Qingyun a secret. However, from Luna's current actions, not only did she not fulfill her promise, she even brought people to attack them. This was too much. Don't think too much, just leave everything to me. Looking at Murong Qingyu's complicated expression, Emo Qingyun showed a gentle smile and gently patted her hand. After comforting Murong Qingyu, Emo Qingyun turned to look at Luna and said with a light smile, Captain Luna, you did very well. You actually brought so many people here. But at this time, you don't need to act anymore. After Emo Qingyun's words fell, Yanxi and others' expression changed. Their eyes looking at Luna became cold. What did Emo Qingyun mean? Could it be that Luna brought them here because she colluded with Emo Qingyun? Emo Qingyun, what nonsense are you talking about? Seeing that Yanxi and others were hostile to her, Luna's expression became flustered. Her tone became anxious. Although she didn't understand Emo Qingyun's real thoughts, but from the current situation, Emo Qingyun's words made her situation very bad. Captain Luna, You really have good acting skills. Looking at the flustered Luna, Mo Qingyun chuckled and praised Luna. Then he said, Captain Luna, you can leave now. You have fulfilled your promise to me. After Mo Qingyun's words fell, he opened a gap in the formation and let Luna leave. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Yan Shi and others immediately became angry. They seemed to have understood the truth of the matter. Judging from the current situation, it was very likely that Luna had colluded with Mo Qingyun to bring them into the array formation. Luna, you actually dared to betray the god race and collude with Mo Qingyun. Zhang's face was glaring at Luna's face. His face was livid. Jin Wei and the other two also had the same expression. They couldn't wait to kill Luna. General, I'm innocent. Mo Qingyun is framing me. Seeing the angry faces of Yan's trio, Luna's face turned pale. She hastily tried to explain to them. After explaining to Yan's trio, Luna clenched her teeth and looked at Mo Qingyun with resentment. Mo Qingyun, are you plotting against me? Luna wasn't a fool. How could she not know that Mo Qingyun let her go in order to plot against her? From the current situation, it seems like everything was under Mo Qingyun's control. Everything was going according to his plan. This Mo Qingyun is a terrible schemer. The more Luna thought about it, the more afraid she got. She was also afraid of Mo Qingyun. A person's scheming mind could reach this level. It was too terrible. Captain Luna, you don't need to panic. They won't be able to escape today. Mo Qingyun didn't give Luna a chance to explain. He smiled and replied to Luna. Then he summoned the ghost. Mo Qingyun is very clear that although his plan is good, there are many loopholes in it. Now Yan's trio is angry, so they can't notice these details. But if they think about it carefully, it won't be difficult for them to notice that something is wrong. However, Mo Qingyun didn't give them a chance to think about it. Facing the attack of a large number of ghosts, Luna and the others couldn't afford to be distracted and were surrounded by ghosts. General, save me! Captain Luna, you are so cruel. I don't want to die, I don't want to. Not long after, miserable cries could be heard coming from the formation. Seeing their soldiers being killed one after another, Jiang's trio's expression became uglier and uglier. Their hatred towards Luna became more and more intense. At this moment, they didn't doubt that all of this was the result of Luna and Mo Qingyun's collusion. General, Luna wanted to cry but no tears came out. Her heart was filled with grievances. She felt like there was a big stone in her chest. She was now suffering in silence. She was also a victim. What made Luna speechless was that perhaps Mo Qingyun deliberately arranged for her to not be attacked by ghosts. Seeing this scene, Yan Shi's expression became uglier. He didn't doubt Mo Qingyun's words. He gritted his teeth and said, Luna, you still want to quibble at this time? If you didn't collude with Mo Qingyun then, why didn't you get attacked by ghosts? Facing Yan Shi's question, Luna was suddenly speechless. Looking at Luna, Yan Shi was furious. He said in a cold voice, You don't have anything to say now? Since you don't have anything to say, then obediently accept your death. Go and pay tribute to those dead soldiers. When Yan Shi's words fell, he repelled the ghosts around him. Then he decisively rushed towards Luna. He wanted to kill Luna. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but smile. He looked at Luna and said, Captain Luna, I'll send you out of the formation. Don't worry, no one will know about you. Mo Qingyun, seeing Mo Qingyun slandering her again, Luna was so angry that her eyes almost popped out. She wished she could cut him into pieces. Now even if she jumped into the Sky River, she wouldn't be able to wash away her crime. Not waiting for Luna to finish her words, she was sent out of the formation. Don't know if it was Mo Qingyun's intention or Yan Shi's good opportunity, but he also came out of the formation. Looking at such a scene, Murong Qinyu couldn't help but reveal an unbearable expression. His heart once again produced some guilt. From the current situation, from now on, Luna's situation would be worrying. Seeing Murong Qingyu's worried face, Emo Qingyun gave her a gentle smile and comforted her. Qingyu, you don't need to feel guilty. If it wasn't for Luna's evil intentions and wanted to bring people to harm us, she wouldn't have fallen into my trap. And I know. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Murong Qingyu felt relieved. The guilt in her heart lessened a bit. Emo Qingyun's words weren't false. Luna fell into this situation because of her own actions. If she hadn't wanted to harm Emo Qingyun, she wouldn't have fallen into Emo Qingyun's trap. This was all karma. After sending Luna out of the formation, Emo Qingyun's purpose of punishing Luna was achieved. Chapter 1382. As the ghosts increased the intensity of their attacks, the situation of Jiang Zhe and the others instantly became much more serious. Several hours later, Jiang Zhe and the others in the formation were all killed by the ghosts. Seeing that Jiang Zhe and the others were all killed, Emo Qingyun took out the Iron Blood token and collected their essence blood. After collecting the essence blood of Jiang Zhe and the others, Emo Qingyun smiled in satisfaction and said, "If this continues, my test results will surpass Li Wenla and the others in less than 5 days. Since everyone in the formation is dead, I should go and lure the God Race soldiers." Emo Qingyun made up his mind. He did not want to waste time and prepared to kill more God Race soldiers. He turned and said to Murong Qinyu, "Qinyu, I'm going out for a while." After telling Murong Qinyu that, Emo Qingyun left the formation and looked for nearby God Race soldiers to kill. Many God Race soldiers still did not know that Emo Qingyun had killed Jiang Zhe and the others. Therefore, Emo Qingyun's slight provocation immediately enraged some God Race soldiers and chased Emo Qingyun into the formation. The strength of these God Race soldiers could not compare to Jiang Zhe and the others. Naturally, they were easier to kill. Then, Emo Qingyun easily reaped the lives of these God Race soldiers. Next, Emo Qingyun used this method to continuously kill the God Race soldiers. After an unknown period of time, the God Race finally retreated again. There's no more to kill. Seeing the God Race soldiers retreat again, Emo Qingyun was disappointed and felt somewhat regretful. If he continued killing, he would soon surpass Chen Qing and the others. "Qinyu, I'll send you to a place now. Don't resist." Seeing the God Race retreat again, Emo Qingyun instructed Murong Qinyu and prepared to return to the immortal camp. Then, Murong Qinyu was sent into the 5-directional small pagoda and continued to cultivate inside. After sending Murong Qinyu into the 5 directions pagoda, Emo Qingyun collected all the ghosts and returned to the immortal camp. A short while later, Emo Qingyun returned to the immortal camp and went to Gu Linxing's tent. Seeing Emo Qingyun come into the tent, Han Siluo showed an appreciative smile and asked, "Junior apprentice brother Emo, in the battle between the two sides this time, I saw that you kept attracting large groups of God Race soldiers into your formation. Your harvest this time should be good, right?" "Not bad indeed. In this battle, I've slaughtered thousands of Protoss soldiers." Emo Qingyun didn't cover up Han Siluo's question and answered with a serious expression. "Killing thousands of Protoss soldiers?" Upon hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Chen Qing and the others were instantly dumbfounded. They found it hard to believe. After a brief moment of shock, Chen Qing and the others revealed bitter smiles as they felt a strong blow. "Junior apprentice brother Emo, are you going to give us a way out? Your hunting speed is way too fast. I've only killed 2,000 Protoss soldiers so far. This is too much of a blow. Setting up a formation to kill Protoss soldiers. This speed is way too fast. If I'd known, I would have learned formations too. If this continues, won't junior apprentice brother Mo's test results be dozens of times higher than mine? That's too crazy. It's really sad to be in the same generation as junior apprentice brother Mo." Chen Qing and the rest wore gloomy expressions as they complained incessantly at the side. "Ha! Seeing the performance of Chen Qing and the others, Han Siluo and the others laughed heartily and looked at Emo Qingyun with gratification. Junior Apprentice Brother Mo, I believe that under your leadership, the Eternal South Immortal Palace will definitely prosper. Senior Apprentice Brother, thank you for thinking so highly of me. If that day really comes, I'll definitely do my best to revitalize the Eternal South Immortal Palace. In response to Han Siluo's expectant words, Mo Qingyun quickly stood up and expressed his attitude and determination. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, Han Siluo and the others were gratified and didn't say anything else. Boom, 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 a terrifyingly loud sound suddenly came from outside the tent. When this terrifying sound was produced, the entire space shook as if it was about to shatter. Seeing this situation, Han Siluo's expression turned solemn. He hurriedly shouted to the outside of the tent, "Men, what happened outside?" Hearing Han Siluo's shout, the soldier guarding outside the tent walked in and reporting to Commander, a few void mountain ranges flew into the battlefield and collided in the center of the battlefield. Void mountain ranges? Hearing this soldier's report, the eyes of Han Siluo and the others lit up and became excited. This kind of moving void mountain ranges had a high chance of carrying an inheritance. This was great news. Let's go and take a look immediately. Han Siluo instructed everyone and strode out of the tent, heading to the place where the void mountain ranges appeared. Seeing Han Siluo's action, Mo Qingyun and the others didn't hesitate and hurriedly followed Han Siluo out. Like Mo Qingyun and the others, the people from the other factions also learned of this news. Soon, everyone arrived at the center of the battlefield and looked at the void mountain ranges in the center. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the void mountain ranges in the center of the battlefield were still colliding with each other, emitting muffled thunderous sounds. Several hours later, the void mountain ranges in the center of the battlefield stopped colliding with each other. When the void mountain ranges stopped colliding, a dazzling light beam suddenly shot out from the void mountain ranges and into the sky. When everyone saw this light beam, their expressions became even more excited. They wished they could immediately rush up the void mountain ranges. Judging from the current situation, the probability of these void mountain ranges carrying an ancient powerhouse's inheritance was very high. We've struck it rich this time. Judging from the movements of these void mountain ranges, there must be an incredible inheritance. If I obtain this inheritance, I can break through to the constellation position and become one of the powerhouses of the three immortal realms. I don't want to obtain the inheritance. As long as I can obtain 1 or 2 treasures, my cultivation level will be able to enter the perfected immortal realm. At this moment, many people were fantasizing that they could obtain the inheritance and unique treasures. Compared to the others, Mo Qingyun was very calm. He looked at the void mountain ranges with a calm expression. Judging from the momentum of the void mountain ranges, even if there was an inheritance there, it shouldn't be comparable to the inheritance of the Heavenly Eye Mansion. The strength of this inheritance was probably equivalent to the Clear Wind Mansion's inheritance. Even so, it was still an incredible inheritance left behind by a powerhouse at the peak of the Golden Immortal Realm. After a moment, everyone saw that the void mountain ranges had completely stabilized, so they didn't waste any more time. Then, the people from the various factions flew up one after another, flying towards the void mountain ranges. Soon, Mo Qingyun and the others arrived at the center of the void mountain ranges and saw the source of the dazzling light beam. This was a gloomy palace filled with red mist, and within the red mist, there were many graceful figures dancing. Seeing this scene, everyone's expression became even more excited. Chapter 1383. Soon, someone couldn't hold it in and took the lead to charge into the red mist. Seeing that someone had entered the red mist, the others immediately followed. They were afraid that if they were one step slower, someone else would take the initiative. Seeing more and more people enter the red mist, Han Siluo and the others couldn't wait. At this moment, miserable cries suddenly came from the red mist. Most of the people who entered the red mist suddenly vomited blood, and the aura on their bodies weakened rapidly. This situation was as if someone had destroyed their star positions. However, the people standing outside the red mist couldn't get a clear answer as to the specific situation. Not long after, a few lucky fellows managed to escape from the red mist. Seeing these people escape from the red mist, some people who were familiar with them quickly rushed towards them. "Chen Shaolin, what's in the red mist? Why are you suddenly injured? Wen Xiong, is there some formation in the red mist? Will it attack a certain area? Wang Jichao, what attacked you? Why weren't some people attacked?" At this moment, words of concern and nervousness came out of everyone's mouths. "There's a lot of bewitching poisonous incense mixed in this red mist, and it eroded our star positions." Hearing the questions of the people around them, those who escaped from the red mist answered with lingering fear. Everyone was shocked. Bewitching poisonous incense was a very strange poison. It wouldn't cause harm to the cultivator, but it would cause harm to the cultivator's star positions. If a cultivator inhaled the bewitching poisonous incense, their star positions would be infected, causing the power of incense in their body to become chaotic, resulting in agitation and backlash. The power of incense was formed from the power of faith of tens of millions of believers, and the degree of heterogeneity was evident. Think about it, if one's consciousness was divided into tens of thousands, and there was a strong repulsion between them, how terrifying would the result be? It seems that star position powerhouses can't enter the inheritance palace. This is a bit of a pity. Star position powerhouses can't enter, so we have a chance to obtain the inheritance. Star position powerhouses can't enter the inheritance palace. This is simply a heaven-sent opportunity for me. That's right. I must seize this opportunity to raise my cultivation to the next level. Seeing that the star-level powerhouses couldn't enter, the eyes of those with lower cultivations lit up, and a burst of joy arose in their hearts. After learning about the situation in the inheritance palace, Han Ci Luo revealed a regretful expression and requested Mo Qinyun, junior apprentice brother Mo, "We are unable to enter the inheritance palace. I'll have to trouble you to lead everyone in." "Alright." Hearing Han Siluo's instructions, Mo Qinyun nodded and promised. "Senior brother Han, don't worry. I will definitely protect everyone's safety." Seeing Mo Qinyun's reply, Han Siluo and the others nodded in satisfaction. They didn't doubt Mo Qinyun's ability at all. After all, regardless of whether it was in the battle with the divine race or when Mo Qinyun killed Han Rong, he had displayed powerful strength. While Mo Qinyun and the others were talking, the major forces had sent many people from the profound star position into the red mist. "Let's go in too." Seeing that the people from the major forces were scrambling to enter the inheritance palace, Missouri Qinyun and the others didn't delay any longer. Following that, Chen Qing and the others followed Mo Qinyun and entered the red mist together. "Humph. After entering the inheritance palace, I'll think of a way to deal with you." Looking at Mo Qinyun in front, Yuan Kong revealed a gloomy expression and secretly hatched a bad idea in his heart. Recently, he had been thinking of a way to deal with Mo Qinyun. Unfortunately, he had never had a chance. Now that he had entered the inheritance palace, he didn't have so many concerns and could join forces with other factions without any scruples. Very soon, Mo Qinyun and the others entered the red mist and smelled a very strange fragrance. After Mo Qinyun smelled this fragrance, his star position became restless as if it was resisting the erosion of some power. At this moment, it wasn't just Mo Qinyun who was in such a situation. Li Wenla, who was not far away, was also the same. It seemed that anyone who had condensed a star position, regardless of whether the condensed star position was complete or not, would be attacked by the charming poisonous fragrance. However, the more incomplete the condensed star position was, the weaker the attack of the charming poisonous fragrance would be. Although my star position is incomplete, the charming poisonous fragrance still caused quite a bit of erosion to my star position. Realizing his situation, Emo Qingyun revealed a solemn expression and his mood became much heavier. Everyone, follow me. Let's enter the inheritance palace quickly. As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, his body turned into a long rainbow and directly charged into the inheritance palace. When Emo Qingyun charged into the inheritance palace, Chen Qing and the others didn't fall behind. They followed closely behind Emo Qingyun and entered the inheritance palace. As Emo Qingyun entered the inheritance palace, the influence of the charming poisonous fragrance on him was immediately reduced by a lot. However, even so, Emo Qingyun's current situation wasn't optimistic. He couldn't even unleash 30% of his strength. I have to find a place quickly to force the charming poisonous fragrance out of my star position. Otherwise, my star position might be affected. Emo Qingyun thought to himself. Junior brother Emo, how are you? Seeing that Emo Qingyun's condition wasn't good, Chen Qing and the others showed concern and asked about Emo Qingyun's situation. Hearing everyone's concern, Emo Qingyun smiled faintly at them and said, Don't worry, I'm fine. I just need to find a place to rest. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Chen Qing and the others' expressions relaxed and the worry in their hearts eased a little. In their hearts, Emo Qingyun was already their backbone. They couldn't let anything happen to him at this time. There are a few immortals over there. Let's go over and kill them. While Emo Qingyun and the others were talking, a group of God Race soldiers nearby discovered their presence. Following that, the God Race soldiers charged towards them with a ferocious aura. Retreat. Facing the sudden attack of the God Race soldiers, Emo Qingyun didn't dare to hesitate at all. He hurriedly led Chen Qing and the others to retreat. Emo Qingyun didn't want to appear rashly when he wasn't familiar with the inheritance palace. He planned to observe for a while before making a decision. Hearing Emo Qingyun's orders, Chen Qing and the others didn't hesitate at all. They all followed Emo Qingyun and retreated rapidly. Not long after, Emo Qingyun encountered Li Wenle and the others. They seemed to have just killed a group of God Race soldiers. Li Wenle, let's work together to kill the God Race soldiers. Seeing Li Wenle and the others in front, Chen Qing was pleasantly surprised and hurriedly shouted to Li Wenle. Hearing Chen Qing's request for help, Li Wenle's expression changed and a bright smile appeared on his face. He said, All right, you guys hold on for a while. We're coming to help you. After Li Wenle finished speaking, he walked towards Emo Qingyun and the others, looking like he was about to lend a helping hand. Chapter 1384. Kill. After meeting up with Emo Qingyun and the rest, Li Wenle sneered and ordered the people around him. However, their targets were not the God Race soldiers but Emo Qingyun and the rest, who were being pursued by the God Race soldiers. Following that, Emo Qingyun and the rest were attacked from both sides. Their situation became even worse. Li Wenle seeing Li Wenle's actions, Chen Qing was enraged and his face turned green. He really did not expect Li Wenle to kick them while they were down because of a personal grudge. You want us to help you? Dream on. Li Wenle sneered when he saw Chen Qing's angry face. Emo Qingyun is now under the influence of the charming poisonous fragrance and can't even use 30% of his strength. This is my best chance to kill him. How can I miss it? Junior brother Emo, I'm sorry. I didn't expect Li Wenle to be so shameless. Hearing Li Wenle's proud words, Chen Qing looked ashamed and hurriedly apologized to Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun didn't blame Chen Qing for asking for Li Wenle's help. He was doing it for everyone's sake. However, Chen Qing did not expect Li Wenle to be so unscrupulous as to join forces with the God Race in order to take revenge on Emo Qingyun. Senior brother Chen Qing, you don't have to blame yourself. I won't blame you for this. Emo Qingyun patted Chen Qing's shoulder and gave him a comforting smile to express his attitude. Seeing Emo Qingyun's expression, Chen Qing's self-blame intensified. After comforting Chen Qing and the rest, Emo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He turned to look at Li Wenle and said coldly, Li Wenle, even if I can only use 30% of my strength, it's still easy for me to kill you all. You still don't know that you're about to die. Li Wenle did not believe Emo Qingyun's words at all and replied with disdain. Seeing Li Wenle's attitude, Emo Qingyun didn't want to waste any more words with him and directly summoned his ghost. Then, a terrifying aura appeared around Emo Qingyun and the others. What's that? Why did so many ghosts suddenly appear? Furthermore, they are all extremely powerful. That ghost's cultivation base has already reached the major star realm. Could it be that these ghosts were created by Emo Qingyun? Quick, run. These ghosts aren't something we can handle. Looking at the ghosts in front of them, Li Wenle and the others immediately panicked and revealed looks of fear. Then, Li Wenle and the others didn't dare to stay any longer. They hurriedly turned around and prepared to flee. It wasn't just Li Wenle and the others. The other divine race soldiers were also running for their lives in a panic. While Li Wenle and the others were running for their lives, Emo Qingyun suddenly frowned and said in shock, "How could this be? My control over ghosts has been cut off by some kind of power. Senior brother Qinqing, let's leave immediately." After realizing this, Emo Qingyun didn't dare to stay any longer and hurriedly led Qinqing and the others away. Seeing Emo Qingyun's reaction, Qinqing and the others didn't dare to hesitate and hurriedly followed behind Emo Qingyun. After losing Emo Qingyun's control, the ghosts seemed to have gone mad and chased after Emo Qingyun and the others. Seeing a wave of ghosts chasing after them, Qinqing and the others panicked. They asked Emo Qingyun in confusion, "Junior brother Emo, what's going on? Weren't these ghosts summoned? Why are they attacking us?" "There's a powerful force in this legacy palace that cut off my control over the ghosts." Hearing Qinqing and the others' questions, Emo Qingyun's expression was helpless and he felt a little depressed. This sudden turn of events really caught him off guard. "Junior brother Miao, you guys take junior brother Emo and leave first. I'll hold off these ghosts for a while." Seeing the ghosts getting closer and closer, Qinqing's expression was resolute as he instructed Miao Luo and the others. "Senior brother Qinqing, are you thinking of?" Hearing Qinqing's words, the others immediately knew what he was thinking and their expressions showed a trace of pity. Qinqing was planning to use his own life to buy time for Emo Qingyun and the others to escape. Understanding Qinqing's thoughts, Emo Qingyun's expression turned solemn as he said in a deep voice, "Everyone, follow me. Since I've promised Senior Brother Han, I'll definitely ensure your safety. Come out." As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he summoned a few more ghosts and immediately ordered, "Go and stop them." These newly summoned ghosts were still under Emo Qingyun's control. After receiving Emo Qingyun's order, they immediately attacked the ghosts that were chasing after them. Following that, the two waves of ghosts started killing each other, buying time for Emo Qingyun and the others to escape. Seeing this, Qinqing and the others were overjoyed. They looked as if they had just survived a disaster. However, the good times did not last long. The ghosts that Emo Qingyun had just summoned quickly escaped Emo Qingyun's control. Following that, the two waves of ghosts merged and continued to chase after Emo Qingyun and the others. "We're doomed. There are even more ghosts chasing after us now." Seeing the two waves of ghosts merge and continue to chase after them, Qinqing and the others were filled with despair. Just as Qinqing and the others were feeling hopeless, Emo Qingyun decisively summoned another wave of ghosts to stop the ghosts that were chasing after them. He realized that when he used this method earlier, the distance between them and the ghosts had increased. "Junior brother Emo, are you afraid that things will get out of hand?" Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, Qinqing and the others were filled with bitterness. They did not know what to say to Emo Qingyun. Seeing that Qinqing and the others were unhappy with Emo Qingyun, Yuan Kang's face darkened. He shouted angrily, "Emo Qingyun, are you deliberately trying to get everyone killed? Do you have a way to save everyone?" Emo Qingyun retorted in response to Yuan Kang's question, not to be outdone. His expression was filled with mockery and disdain. This Yuan Kong really knew how to find an opportunity to drive a wedge between him and Chen Qing and the others. Yuan Kong could not help but be at a loss for words after being questioned by Mo Qingyun. He replied guiltily, Although I don't have a way, I won't harm everyone like you did. Seeing Yuan Kang's guilty expression, Mo Qingyun's disdain for him deepened. He sneered, "If you can't save everyone, then shut up and stop spouting nonsense." Yuan Kong was furious. He glared at Mo Qingyun with a ferocious expression. He could not wait to attack Mo Qingyun. However, under the current circumstances, he did not dare to attack unless he was really tired of living. Seeing that Yuan Kong was no longer speaking, Mo Qingyun ignored him and continued to lead the group to escape. While Mo Qingyun was escaping, he continued to summon ghosts to stop the ghosts that were chasing after them. Just like that, about 2 hours later, under Mo Qingyun's relentless efforts, they finally broke free from the ghosts' pursuit. Seeing that they had successfully broken free from the ghosts, Chen Qing and the others were filled with admiration. They were completely convinced by Mo Qingyun. Chapter 1385. It was really dangerous this time. If not for Junior Brother Mo's calmness, we would have been finished. Junior Brother Mo, I feel very guilty for doubting your decision earlier. Now I know how wise Senior Brother Han's decision was. Chen Qing and the rest felt like they had survived a disaster after successfully escaping the pursuit of the ghost. They could not help but express their emotions. However, Yuan Kang's current mood was the exact opposite of Chen Qing and the rest. He muttered to himself indignantly, Mo Qingyun, I can't believe you managed to do something like that. You're really lucky. However, I won't let you be happy for too long. Yuan Kang's current rationality had been completely replaced by anger. He did not consider that if Mo Qingyun had not brought everyone out of danger, he would not have survived even if Mo Qingyun had died in the hands of the ghost. We're all fellow disciples. There's no need to be so formal. Mo Qingyun had an indifferent expression as he consoled Chen Qing and the others. He swept the surroundings with his gaze and said, We still can't be sure if those ghosts will chase after us. It's best for us to leave this place for now. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he led Chen Qing and the rest to the west. After what had happened earlier, everyone no longer had any doubts about Mo Qingyun's arrangements. Of course, Yuan Kong was not included in this list. About half an hour later, Mo Qingyun and the rest hurried on. They arrived at a valley and saw a scene of birds chirping and flowers blooming. There were many beautiful flowers in this valley. There were many bees and butterflies dancing on the flowers. So beautiful! Looking at the beautiful scene in front of her, Wang Yuewan was pleasantly surprised. She quickly walked into the valley. Seeing Wang Yuewan rush into the valley, Mo Qingyun and the rest's expressions froze. They wanted to stop her. Without waiting for Mo Qingyun and the others to speak, Wang Yuewan rushed into the valley and danced among the flowers in the valley. Fortunately, there was no danger in the valley. It seemed to be a real paradise. Seeing this, everyone's expressions relaxed. They were no longer worried about Wang Yuewan's safety. Looks like this valley is very safe. Let's go in and take a rest. Seeing that there was no danger in the valley, Mo Qingyun instructed Chen Qing and the others before entering the valley. After entering the valley, Mo Qingyun walked to a huge bluestone and said to Chen Qing and the others, Senior Brother Chen Qing, I need to rest and recover. Don't leave the valley for now. In order to prevent himself from being unable to take care of Chen Qing and the others while he was recuperating, Mo Qingyun instructed them. After all, in the Heritage Palace, apart from some unknown dangers, there were also threats from other factions and the Protoss. Of course, the biggest threat to Mo Qingyun right now was undoubtedly those ghosts. Mo Qingyun could not guarantee that those ghosts would stay in one place and not wander around the Heritage Palace. All right. Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Chen Qing and the others had serious expressions. They sat down beside Mo Qingyun and said, "Junior brother Mo, don't worry and recover here. We'll protect you here." Seeing that Chen Qing and the others wanted to protect him, Mo Qingyun did not say anything else. He began to expel the enchanting poisonous fragrance from the star position. However, the enchanting poisonous fragrance was far more difficult to deal with than Mo Qingyun had expected. It was like a maggot attached to the star position. The enchanting poisonous fragrance is indeed the nemesis of star position experts. No wonder ordinary star position experts were crippled when they came in contact with it. After fighting with the enchanting poisonous fragrance for a while, Mo Qingyun's mood became much heavier. He knew that he had underestimated the enchanting poisonous fragrance. However, Mo Qingyun did not panic. Although he could not expel the enchanting poisonous fragrance for the time being, he could still suppress it. In general, Mo Qingyun's current situation was equivalent to having a large portion of his cultivation sealed. Of course, Mo Qingyun would not allow it to continue like this. He was thinking of a way to deal with it. Humph. You want to hurry up and expel the enchanting poisonous fragrance? How could I let you succeed so easily? Seeing Mo Qingyun cultivating at the side, a sinister smile appeared at the corner of Yuan Kang's mouth. He wandered around the valley with ulterior motives. Yuan Kang wandered around the valley for a while. He came to the entrance of the valley and left a small mark when no one was paying attention. With this mark, whether it's the deity race or Li Wenla's group, they will be able to catch up easily. Looking at the mark he left, Yuan Kang revealed a sinister smile. A carefree feeling rose in his heart. After doing all this, Yuan Kang did not stay outside the valley for long. He immediately returned to the inner part of the valley. After returning to the inner part of the valley, Yuan Kang did not stop there. He searched everywhere in the valley. Yuan Kang wandered around the valley for a while. A pool filled with blood-red liquid attracted his attention. What rich, immortal spiritual energy! Looking at the pool in front of him, Yuan Kang's face was filled with shock and excitement. The value of the red liquid in this pool is comparable to that of a top-grade immortal herb. If I can refine it, my cultivation will definitely skyrocket. Thinking of this, Yuan Kang took out a jade bottle and used it to collect the blood-red liquid in the pool. The pool was not very big. Under Yuan Kang's collection, the blood-red liquid in the pool was quickly collected. After the blood-red liquid in the pool was collected, a folding fan made of flower petals appeared at the bottom of the pool. This folding fan is a supreme-grade immortal artifact. Seeing the folding fan at the bottom of the pool, Yuan Kang was pleasantly surprised. He became even more excited. Soon after, Yuan Kang could not wait and hurriedly kept the folding fan. Since there is a supreme-grade immortal artifact folding fan in this valley, there must be other treasures. After keeping the supreme-grade immortal artifact folding fan, Yuan Kang's eyes were filled with anticipation. He continued to search in the valley. Unfortunately, no matter how he searched, he did not find any other treasures. Although I didn't find any other treasures, this supreme-grade immortal artifact folding fan is still a great reward. Yuan Kang was secretly delighted. He looked gloomily at Mo Qingyun and silently planned, Mo Qingyun, although I can't deal with you now, wait until I refine the blood-red liquid and the supreme-grade immortal artifact folding fan. Let's see how I'll deal with you then. With this thought in mind, Yuan Kang did not waste any more time. He began to refine the blood-red liquid and the supreme-grade immortal artifact folding fan. Time passed little by little. Everything was so peaceful. However, this peace did not last long. It was destroyed by a group of ferocious people. As soon as these people entered the valley, they revealed sinister smiles as they slowly approached Mo Qingyun and the others. Li Wenla. Looking at the person at the front of the group, Chen Qing and the others tensed up. A bad feeling rose in their hearts. They did not expect Li Wenla and the others to find them even though they had hidden so well. So you were hiding here? Chapter 1386. Li Wenla has caught up. Emo Qingyun frowned when he saw Li Wenla and the others appear. He was surprised by their arrival. What shocked Emo Qingyun the most was that Li Wenla had gathered so many people to follow him in such a short time. The number of people on Li Wenla's side had reached hundreds and thousands. This was not a good sign. If Emo Qingyun was alone, he would not be worried about Li Wenla and the others. He could use the teleportation gate to leave. However, he was now with Chen Qing and the others. It would be troublesome if he wanted to leave. He had to bring Chen Qing and the others with him. Glancing at Li Wenla and the others, Emo Qingyun slowly stood up and said in a low voice, "Li Wenla, you have some guts. You actually dare to continue chasing us. Aren't you afraid that I will summon ghosts again?" Li Wenla's face twitched when he heard Emo Qingyun's words. He looked as if he was afraid. Emo Qingyun's words had hit the nail on the head and hit him where it hurt. The ghost that Emo Qingyun had summoned earlier still left a lingering fear in his heart. It had almost cost him his life. "Senior brother Chen Qing, let's go." Seeing Li Wenla's fear, Emo Qingyun led Chen Qing and the others slowly towards the exit of the valley. However, just as Emo Qingyun and the others were about to leave the valley, Li Wenla's face suddenly darkened. He shouted, "Block their path. Don't let them escape." "Yes." Hearing Li Wenla's order, the people following him immediately surrounded Emo Qingyun and the others. Soon, the exit of the valley was blocked by those people. Seeing that the valley was blocked, Emo Qingyun's face instantly darkened. A murderous aura exploded from his body. "Since you insist on seeking death, I will grant you your wish." Seeing that these people were blocking his path, Emo Qingyun's left eye flashed with a cold light. A terrifying soul power blasted out. When these soul powers were unleashed, they turned into lightning chains and shot into those people's sea of consciousness. Then, the group of people blocking Emo Qingyun's path became dazed. Kill. After sealing the souls of those who were blocking his way, Emo Qingyun's figure moved, taking the lead to charge towards those people. Upon receiving Emo Qingyun's instructions, Chen Qing and the others did not hesitate and quickly charged towards the group of people. Bang 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 in the face of Emo Qingyun and the others' attacks, nearly half of the people blocking the way were immediately slaughtered. After slaughtering nearly half of the people blocking the way, Emo Qingyun did not want to fight anymore. He quickly ordered Chen Qing and the others, "Let's retreat." When they heard Emo Qingyun's instructions, Chen Qing and the others didn't hesitate in the slightest. They hurriedly followed behind Emo Qingyun and left. "Let's chase after them. We must make them stay." Seeing that Emo Qingyun and the others had escaped from the valley, Li Wenla's face was extremely gloomy. He quickly led the group and chased after them. However, when Li Wenla and the others arrived at the valley's exit, a group of gray figures suddenly appeared at the valley's exit. These were all ghosts. Emo Qingyun had summoned another group of ghosts. Quickly kill these ghosts." Looking at the hundreds of ghosts in front of him, Li Wenla's expression immediately twitched. Panic and fear rose in his heart. Now that the valley's exit was blocked by these ghosts, they were like turtles in a jar. "Awesome, this is really awesome. This time, Li Wenla and the others will have a hard time against these ghosts. Even if Li Wenla and the others are lucky enough to survive, they will most likely be crippled. They deserve this. I want to see how arrogant they can be after this. The next time they dare to invade, junior brother Emo will summon ghosts to kill them." Seeing the situation Li Wenla and the others were in, Chen Qing and the others laughed heartily. Compared to the elation of Chen Qing and the others, Yuan Kong was in a much worse mood. His face was as dark as ink as he muttered to himself, "Li Wenla and the others are really a bunch of good-for-nothings. They let Emo Qingyun escape with such a good opportunity." Yuan Kong suppressed the anger in his heart and continued to move forward with Emo Qingyun and the others. He was prepared to find another opportunity to scheme against Mo Qingyun. After walking for a while, they arrived at a quiet garden. The garden's scenery was very beautiful. There was a pavilion, a small bridge, and a pond. It gave off a very peaceful feeling. After seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun carefully looked around and led the group into the pavilion. He said, "Everyone, rest in this courtyard for a while. We will continue to explore the inheritance palace later." With that, Mo Qingyun walked into a pavilion and continued to suppress the enchanting poisonous fragrance in his body. After what happened earlier, the enchanting poisonous fragrance's corrosion on me seems to have worsened. In other words, if I fight with someone, the enchanting poisonous fragrance's corrosion will worsen. Realizing that something was wrong with his body, Mo Qingyun's understanding of the enchanting poisonous fragrance became more thorough. Afterwards, Mo Qingyun began to think about how he could prevent the enchanting poisonous fragrance's corrosion from worsening. If I get Mo to replace me and my original body enters the 5-directional miniature tower, I can avoid fighting with others. After a short moment of thought, Mo Qingyun came up with an idea. He smiled faintly. The enchanting poisonous fragrance's corrosion won't worsen. As long as I have enough time, I'll be able to expel it bit by bit. Now that Mo had studied the Heaven's Eye legacy, his strength was already on par with his original body apart from being unable to use various abilities. Therefore, Mo Qingyun wasn't too worried about letting Mo replace him. As for why he didn't let Mo Zai replace him, it was mainly because Mo Zai's bloodline power was too strong. It would easily cause others to be suspicious. Mo Qingyun thought of an idea. He didn't want to waste any time. He stood up and instructed Chunqing and the others. "Senior brother Chunqing, you guys stay here first. I'll take a look around." "Alright." Chunqing and the others nodded and continued to sit cross-legged on the spot. After giving Chunqing and the others a few simple instructions, Mo Qingyun walked towards the courtyard and swapped identities with Mo. After a while, Mo Qingyun and Mo swapped identities and entered the 5-directional miniature tower to cultivate and expel the poison. After Mo Qingyun entered the 5-directional miniature tower, he went to the place where Morong Qinyu was cultivating to check on Morong Qingyu's situation. What Mo Qingyun didn't expect was that after Morong Qinyu saw him, he exclaimed in shock, "Qingyun, you've been poisoned by the enchanting poisonous fragrance? How did you know?" With regards to Morong Qingyu's discovery, Mo Qingyun was very puzzled and couldn't help but ask in reply. In his memory, he didn't seem to have told Morong Qinyu that he had been poisoned by the enchanting poisonous fragrance. However, now that Morong Qinyu had discovered it, it was a bit too abnormal. Seeing Mo Qingyun's surprised expression, Morong Qinyu didn't hide it and said with a serious expression, "The phantom heavenly demon bloodline in my body originated from the enchanting heavenly demon bloodline. Therefore, I have some understanding of the enchanting heavenly demon bloodline. Naturally, I also know about the enchanting poisonous fragrance. So that's how it is." Chapter 1387. Qingyun, the charming poisonous fragrance is only effective on star position experts. How did you get poisoned by the charming poisonous fragrance? Morong Qinyu was puzzled. She didn't understand how Mo Qingyun, with his immortal infant stage cultivation, could be poisoned by the charming poisonous fragrance. Morong Qinyu couldn't be blamed for this. How could she have thought that Mo Qingyun, with his immortal infant stage cultivation, could successfully condense a star position? Seeing Morong Qingyu's puzzled face, Mo Qingyun didn't explain to her and directly took out his star position. Because Morong Qinyu saw his star position, Morong Qingyu's doubts were naturally solved. "Qingyun, you actually condensed a star position." Seeing the star position above Mo Qingyun, Morong Qinyu revealed a shocked expression. She couldn't believe that this was true. While Morong Qinyu was shocked, the doubts and puzzlement in her heart also had a perfect answer. It turned out that Mo Qingyun, with his immortal infant stage cultivation, had successfully condensed a star position. No wonder he was poisoned by the charming poisonous fragrance. Knowing the reason why Mo Qingyun was poisoned, Murong Qinyu pondered for a moment, then said to Mo Qingyun in a deep voice, "Qingyun, actually, to dissolve the charming poisonous fragrance, it's not particularly difficult. You only need to use the blood of the charming heavenly devil clan. It's not an easy task to find and charm a member of the Sky Devil clan, let alone obtain their blood." Hearing Murong Qingyu's words, Mo Qingyun's brows wrinkled a bit. He felt that this was not an easy matter. Murong Qinyu didn't oppose Mo Qingyun's view. She revealed a regretful expression and said, "If my bloodline can return to its ancestral state, perhaps it can evolve into the charming heavenly devil bloodline. At that time, I can help you dissolve the charming poisonous fragrance." Murong Qingyu's words reached here and she became silent. Her mood became a lot heavier. After a moment of silence, Murong Qinyu revealed a regretful expression and said, "Unfortunately, if my bloodline wants to return to its ancestral state, I'm afraid it's more difficult than finding the charming heavenly devil clan." Bloodline atavism? Mo Qingyun raised an eyebrow as a resplendent smile appeared on his lips. He said in surprise and joy, "If I've guessed correctly, the master of this legacy palace is extremely likely to be related to the charming sky demons. If you obtain the legacy of this palace, it may be able to help you undergo atavism." At this moment, the idea of Mo Qingyun helping Murong Qinyu to obtain the inheritance immediately became a bit more firm. No matter if it was for Murong Qinyu or for himself, he was duty-bound to do so. Next, Mo Qingyun and Murong Qinyu discussed for a while, then he suppressed the charming poisonous fragrance in his body. While Mo Qingyun was suppressing the charming poisonous fragrance in his body, he used Mo's body to check the environment of the small courtyard. Under Mo Qingyun's observation, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of the situation in the small courtyard. At this moment, Momo saw a painting of a beautiful woman in the center of the courtyard. What a powerful aura! Sensing the aura of the painting, Momo's expression shook. He carefully sized up the painting in front of him. The aura of this painting is so powerful that it is comparable to an ordinary top-grade immortal tool. It seems like its origin is not simple. Charming fairy painting. Seeing the words on the painting, Momo took the painting in his hand and carefully observed it. There seems to be a map drawn at the bottom of this painting. After carefully sizing up the painting, Momo saw a topographic map of a mansion at the bottom left corner of the painting. After discovering the topographic map at the bottom left corner of the painting, Momo simulated the topographic map in his mind and guessed, from the map on the painting, it seems to be the topographic map of the Legacy Palace. According to the description on the map, this charming fairy pavilion is the Legacy Palace. After looking at the map on the scroll, Momo immediately had a clear understanding of the location of the inheritance. The small courtyard I'm in isn't very far from the location of the inheritance. It's only separated by a few corridors. Since the charming fairy pavilion is where the Legacy Palace is, I cannot waste any more time. After knowing the location of the Legacy Palace, Momo did not want to waste any more time and was ready to fight for the legacy. Momo did not waste any more time and immediately went to find Chunqing and the rest to head to the charming fairy pavilion. "Senior brother Chunqing, I have found the palace's Legacy Palace. I am ready to leave immediately." Momo came to Chunqing and the rest and gave them some instructions before turning around to lead the way. "All right." Hearing Momo's words, Chunqing did not hesitate and quickly left with Mo Qingyun. "You have found the Legacy Palace?" Hearing Momo and Chunqing's conversation, Yuan Kong revealed a sinister smile. His eyes revealed a sinister look as he thought to himself, "Mo Qingyun, I have already refined the charming painting fan. Once I reach the Legacy Palace, I will deal with all of you." One had to admit that Yuan Kang's plan was ingenious. After half an incense stick's time, Chen Qing and the rest arrived at the charming fairy pavilion under Momo's lead. At this moment, Li Wenle's group and the god race had already arrived at the front of the charming fairy pavilion. They were in a state of mutual hostility. When the two factions saw Momo and the rest, they immediately acted fearfully and consciously distanced themselves from Momo. Looking at their reactions, it was likely that they were still extremely afraid of the ghost that Mo Qingyun had summoned. Momo did not pay attention to the two factions' reactions and directly led Chen Qing and the rest forward. They also have paintings in their hands. Looks like they have more than one painting. When Momo walked towards the charming fairy pavilion, he saw the painting in Li Wenle's hand and was surprised. When Mo saw the scroll in Li Wenle's hand, Li Wenle also saw the scroll in Mo's hand. He coldly snorted and said, "So you also obtained the charm fairy painting. Since we have all three, let's open the charm fairy pavilion." When Li Wenle's words fell, he placed the charming fairy painting in his hand on the wall in front of the charming fairy pavilion. Seeing Li Wenle's actions, the youth from the god race who was holding the painting also placed the charming fairy pavilion on the wall. Seeing Li Wenle's actions, Momo did not hesitate and also hung up the painting. When the three paintings were hung up, the charming fairy pavilion's door suddenly shone brightly and slowly opened under a surge of energy. As the doors to the charming celestial maiden pavilion opened, the scene inside was presented to Mo Qingyun and the others. The interior of the charming fairy pavilion was very spacious and was at least a few hundred acres. Inside the charming fairy pavilion, there were paintings of beauties hanging everywhere. Each painting had a different temperament. However, without exception, each of the beauties in the paintings had a soul-stealing charm. Seeing the paintings in the charming fairy pavilion, some people with weak willpower immediately sank into their fantasies. Following that, these people revealed a dazed expression and slowly walked into the charming fairy pavilion. As expected of the charming fairy pavilion, just one painting has such charm. Looking at the expressions of the people around him, Momo could not help but sigh. He was even more curious about the charming Sky Devil tribe. Chapter 1388. Let's go in as well. After observing the situation in the charming fairy pavilion for a while, Mo instructed Chen Qing and the rest before taking the lead and entering the pavilion. As he walked into the pavilion, Mo realized that the charm of the portraits of beauty had become much stronger. Under the influence of the portraits of beauty, Wang Yuewan's consciousness gradually sank into oblivion, just like the others before her. As Wang Yuewan's consciousness sank into oblivion, her face flushed red. She confided in Mo, "Junior brother Mo, ever since I saw you at the Three Realms Immortal Gatherings qualification battle, I've already fallen in love with you." Hearing Wang Yuewan's words, Chen Qing and the rest were stunned. They looked at Mo meaningfully. Under their gazes, Mo couldn't help but smile awkwardly. He didn't expect Wang Yuewan to have feelings for him. Junior brother Mo, a gentle and virtuous woman, is a good match for a gentleman. Cherish her. Junior brother Mo, junior sister Yuewan is pure and has never had feelings for a man. Don't waste it. That's right. Junior brother Mo, you can do it. I have high hopes for you. Hee. If junior brother Mo doesn't like her, then I won't hold back. Get lost. How dare you have designs on junior brother Mo's woman? Do you want to die? Senior brothers, I was wrong. I was just joking. At this moment, Chen Qing and the rest were smiling evilly as they mocked Mo. Seeing Chen Qing and the rest's actions, Mo was instantly embarrassed. He replied snappily, "Why aren't you guarding your hearts and resisting the charm of the portraits of beauty?" Hearing Mo's words, Chen Qing and the rest's expressions turned serious. They didn't dare to divert their attention to tease Mo. They knew that although they hadn't been charmed by the portraits of beauty, Their current situation wasn't very good. Seeing that Chen Qing and the rest had stopped talking, Mo released a wave of soul energy to help Wang Yuewan break free from the charm of the portraits of beauty. With Mo's help, Wang Yuewan's consciousness gradually cleared. She looked at Mo with a slightly red face and said, "Junior brother Mo, I didn't say anything that I shouldn't have when my consciousness was submerged, right?" "No." Mo's expression was a little awkward as he smiled at Wang Yuewan. Seeing Mo's reaction, Chen Qing and the others smiled playfully. The meaning of their expressions could not be more obvious. "Junior brother Mo, you're lying." Mo's expression turned solemn when he saw the expressions of Chen Qing and the others. He glared fiercely at them. Mo and the others' little movements did not escape Wang Yuewan's observation. Seeing the actions of Mo and the others, Wang Yuewan's pretty face immediately turned red. She vaguely guessed something. When she was unconscious, she must have said something shocking. "I'll head to the front first." Wang Yuewan's face turned red as she whispered into Momo's ears. Then, she quickly walked into the charming fairy pavilion. However, Wang Yuewan had only taken a few steps when she revealed a strained expression. She did not dare to rashly enter the charming fairy pavilion. She was worried that if she forced her way in, her consciousness might once again sink into oblivion. As Wang Yuewan's footsteps slowed down, Mo and the others caught up again and continued to walk side by side with her. Seeing that Mo and the others had caught up to her again, Wang Yuewan seemed to have a guilty conscience, and her beautiful face blushed again. Soon after, Wang Yuewan's mind was distracted. She was unable to resist the charm of the portrait of beauty. Looking at her current appearance, it seemed that her consciousness was about to sink into oblivion again. Seeing Wang Yuewan's behavior, Mo's expression immediately turned solemn. He used a sound wave mixed with soul power to say, "Senior Sister Yuewan, abandon all distracting thoughts and concentrate your mind." Awakened by Mo's sound wave, Wang Yuewan's expression shook. Her consciousness suddenly became much clearer. After regaining her consciousness, Wang Yuewan's face revealed a frightened expression. She did not dare to be distracted in the slightest. Seeing that Wang Yuewan had regained her consciousness, Mo's expression turned solemn. He said to Chen Qing and the others, "The deeper you go into the charming fairy pavilion, the stronger the charm of the portraits of beauty will be. Everyone must act according to their abilities. Do not force yourself to go deeper." "We understand." Hearing Mo's words, Chen Qing's expression turned solemn. He quickly responded to Mo. After explaining to Chen Qing and the others, Mo thought for a while and said, "The portraits of beauty in the charming fairy pavilion have the effect of tempering one's mind and will. You can borrow the charm of the portraits of beauty to temper your mind and will. Then, you can slowly enter the charming fairy pavilion." "Junior brother Mo, we know what to do." After hearing Mo's words, Wang Yuewan and Huang Guanjuan, who had weaker wills, did not continue to enter the charming fairy pavilion. Shortly after, Huang Guanjuan and the others sat down cross-legged. They decided to follow Mo's instructions and borrow the charm of the portraits of beauty to temper their minds. Then, they would slowly enter the charming fairy pavilion. Seeing Huang Guanjuan and the others' actions, Mo revealed a satisfied expression. He continued to go deeper into the charming fairy pavilion. As they went deeper into the charming fairy pavilion, Miao Ruo and the others stopped one after another. They borrowed the charm of the portraits of beauty to temper their minds and will. What surprised Mo was that the person who followed him in the end was actually Yuan Kong, who had a grudge against him. Mo did not pay attention to Yuan Kong, who was traveling with him. He went deeper into the charming fairy pavilion as fast as he could. However, no matter how fast Mo increased his speed, Yuan Kong was still able to follow him closely. This Yuan Kang's mind and will are so tenacious. I underestimated him in the past. Seeing Yuan Kang's performance behind him, Mo revealed a shocked expression. He couldn't help but think more highly of Yuan Kang. While Mo was shocked, Yuan Kang's heart was also filled with shock. He thought to himself, with the help of the charming painting fan, I was barely able to resist the corrosion of the charm. Mo Qingyun is actually able to do this without any help. This brat is truly a monster. I must find a way to get rid of him. At this moment, as Yuan Kang's heart was filled with killing intent, Li Wenle and the others appeared in front of him. Li Wenle and the others had been walking in front of Mo's group for a while. Now they had finally been caught up. Looking at the current state of Li Wenle and the others, they seemed to have reached their limit and could no longer go deeper into the charming fairy pavilion. After seeing Li Wenle and the others, Yuan Kang gave Li Wenle a look and transmitted his voice. Li Wenle, Mo Qingyun is alone now. Not only is he injured by the charming fragrance, but he is also being corroded by the charm power. This is the best time for us to kill him. So it was you who left the mark outside the valley. After hearing Yuan Kang's transmission, Li Wenle immediately knew who had left the mark outside the valley. After knowing what Yuan Kang was thinking, Li Wenle's expression became colder. He revealed a sinister smile and said, although I don't know what kind of enmity there is between you and Mo Qingyun, just from this point alone, I can see that Mo Qingyun's character is not that good. Chapter 1389. Kill! As soon as Li Wenle's words fell, he charged at Mo and blasted a palm at him. Immortal technique, Empyrean demon subduing palm. Li Wenle struck out with his palm. A wave of immortal spiritual energy blasted out from his palm and turned into a huge palm that covered the sky. When this gigantic palm was formed, it pressed down on Mo, causing the surrounding space to tremble. Seeing this, everyone's expression changed. They were shocked by Li Wenle's strength. That's an ancient-level immortal technique. Li Wenle actually mastered such an immortal technique. No, that's the simplified version of the ancient-level immortal technique, Empyrean demon subduing palm. Facing Li Wenle's palm, Mo Qingyun's situation is worrying. Seeing Li Wenle's attack, everyone's expression changed. They felt that Mo was doomed. They could feel that the power of Li Wenle's palm strike was enough to threaten a lesser star realm expert. While everyone was shocked by Li Wenle's strength, the people behind Li Wenle quickly attacked Mo. Following that, attacks that could threaten a true immortal realm profound star realm expert whistled toward Mo. Facing the attacks of Li Wenle and the others, Mo's expression turned serious. He quickly counterattacked. Soul Prison. Mo's glabella suddenly shone brightly. An astonishing soul power blasted out and blasted toward Li Wenle and the others. The astonishing soul power blasted out and turned into soul chains that instantly blasted into Li Wenle and the others' spiritual seas. Receiving Momo's attack, Li Wenle and the others' expressions trembled as they revealed pained expressions. Soon after, the eyes of Li Wenle and the others became a little hollow, and their attacks slowed down. Seeing that Li Wenle and the others' attacks had slowed down, Mo immediately seized the opportunity to escape from Li Wenle and the others' attack range. When Mo dodged, the divine race rushed forward and blocked his path. Seeing that his path was blocked again, Mo's expression turned serious. He was on full alert. The current situation was far too dangerous for him. Soul Prison. Seeing that his path was blocked, Mo didn't hesitate. He immediately released the soul prison on the god. Immediately after, a wave of astonishing soul power shot out from the eye between its eyebrows. In addition, Mo activated his third eye and unleashed a terrifying bloodline power. What kind of bloodline power is this? It's actually this powerful. This bloodline must be one of the strongest bloodlines in the 10,000 ancient races. This brat actually has such a bloodline? This brat's bloodline is so powerful. I'm afraid he's not someone we can deal with. Do we really have to kill him? Captain, I'm afraid this kid's background is not simple. Are we really going to deal with him? Sensing Momo's bloodline power, the God Race soldiers were shocked, and their attacks became more hesitant. While these God Race soldiers were hesitating, the soul prison blasted into their sea of consciousness, trapping their consciousness. Seeing this, Momo didn't dare to delay at all. He hurriedly rushed into the charming fairy pavilion to escape the pursuit of the God Race soldiers. Primordial bloodline? Mo Qinyun is really a god? Sensing Momo's God Race bloodline, Yuan Kong revealed a shocked expression. He couldn't understand this situation. However, in Yuan Kang's heart, a feeling of puzzlement quickly arose. In his memory, the palace masters and elders of the three immortal palaces seemed to have tested Mo Qingyun's identity and confirmed that he wasn't a god. Now, in Mo Qingyun's body, the God Race bloodline appeared. This was really too strange. Even with so many people, they can't cause any harm to Mo Qingyun. Today we absolutely can't let him escape. Seeing that Mo wanted to escape, Yuan Kang's face sank and he quickly rushed towards Mo. After a few flashes, Yuan Kong arrived beside Mo and swept out a fan at Mo without hesitation. Mo Qinyun die. Under Yuan Kang's wave, the supreme-grade immortal artifact charming painting fan immediately erupted with a terrifying power that carried an even stronger charm power. This charm power blasted out and fused with the charm power of the portrait of beauty. At the same time, it eroded Mo facing the bombardment of the charm power. Mo's consciousness gradually sank and his expression became a little sluggish. Mo Qinyun, will you also have such a day? Seeing Mo's consciousness sinking, Li Wenla immediately sneered, and a strong sense of pride rose in his heart. He had fought with Mo Qinyun for so long and finally won against Mo Qinyun for once. Power Ray. However, before Yuan Kong could feel happy, Mo's consciousness recovered and a light beam burst out from his third eye. After the light beam was blasted out, it shot towards Yuan Kang's head, as if it was going to explode Yuan Kang's head. How could this be? Seeing Mo suddenly attack, Yuan Kong looked as if he had seen a ghost and immediately revealed a frightened expression. While Yuan Kong was frightened, his body instinctively moved to the side to dodge the attack of the Eye Power Ray. Poochie. However, the attack of the Eye Power Ray was too fast. Even if Yuan Kong wanted to dodge, one of his ears was shot off by the Eye Power Ray. Ah! My ear! After one of his ears was blasted off by the Eye Power Ray, Yuan Kong immediately let out a miserable shriek. He gnashed his teeth and looked at Mo angrily saying, Mo Qinyun, I will tear you into pieces. After Yuan Kang's words, he attacked Mo again and waved the charm painting fan in his hand. However, this time, Mo was already prepared and naturally wouldn't fall for his trick. Humph! This time, I will cripple one of your ears to teach you a lesson. I will slowly take care of you in the future. Mo dodged Yuan Kang's attack and left behind a ruthless sentence before charging into the interior of the Charm Fairy Pavilion. With his current strength, he could only imprison the consciousness of Li Wenla and the others for a moment. He couldn't be entangled by Yuan Kong for too long. The most important thing now was to let Mo Qinyun obtain the inheritance as soon as possible and dissolve the charm poisonous fragrance in his body. After the poison fragrance in Mo Qinyun's body was dissolved, it wouldn't be too late to slowly deal with Yuan Kong and the others. Soon, with a few flashes of Mo's body, his figure disappeared from Yuan Kang's eyes. Seeing that Mo was able to escape like this, Yuan Kang's face immediately showed anger. He shouted at Mo's back, Mo Qinyun, wait until I return to the Eternal South Immortal Palace. I will definitely report the matter of the God Race bloodline. You will be punished by the three immortal palaces. At this moment, when Yuan Kong was shouting, Li Wenla and the others gradually woke up and looked at Yuan Kong with shock. Seeing Yuan Kang's crazed expression, Li Wenla sneered and comforted Yuan Kong. Junior brother Yuan, there's no need to be angry. Mo Qingyun won't be able to escape. Let's continue deeper into the charming fairy pavilion. That's right, he won't be able to escape. Hearing Li Wenla's words, Yuan Kang's anger subsided a little. He slowly went deeper into the charm fairy pavilion with the others. Chapter 1390. After Mo entered the interior of the charming fairy pavilion, he did not stop and went deeper into the charming fairy pavilion with his fastest speed. As he went deeper into the charming fairy pavilion, the charm power emitted by the portrait of beauty also became stronger and stronger. Fortunately, as Mo Qingyun's incarnation, the charm power did not have much effect on him. Just like this, after several hours, Mo arrived at the innermost part of the charming fairy pavilion. This is a room filled with charm aura. Everything in the room is pink, giving people a hazy and illusory feeling. Standing in this room, even with Mo's incarnation's physique, he still felt an intense charm power. What astonishing charm power, worthy of being an existence comparable to a great principal golden immortal when he was alive. Sensing the astonishing charm power around him, Mo's face was filled with shock, and he could not help but sigh with emotion in his heart. Sweeping his gaze over the room, a pink heart attracted Mo's attention. Mo's gaze fell on the red heart and a terrifying charm power was emitted from the heart. After this charm power appeared, it attacked Mo's sea of consciousness, causing Mo's head to buzz and his consciousness to gradually sink. What powerful charm power! Even Mo is unable to resist it. Seeing Mo's consciousness sink, Mo Qingyun, who was in the Five Directions miniature pagoda, felt an intense shock in his heart. He did not expect that even Mo's incarnation was unable to resist the corrosion of this charm power. Next, Mo Qingyun connected with Mo's soul and released his soul force to awaken Mo. Soon, under the awakening of Mo Qingyun's soul force, Mo's consciousness gradually woke up. Qinyu, Mo has arrived at the interior of the charming fairy pavilion. I will now send you out to receive the inheritance. After awakening Mo's consciousness, Mo Qingyun instructed Murong Qinyu and sent her out of the Five Directions miniature pagoda. Bang bang bang, when Murong Qinyu left the five-directional pagoda, her heartbeat immediately began to accelerate, showing a phenomenon of blood boiling. After discovering his situation, Murong Qinyu revealed a pleasantly surprised smile. He hurriedly said to Mo excitedly, Qingyun, this is the inheritance of the charm heavenly devil, the heart of charm. As long as I refine the heart of charm, my bloodline can revert to the charm heavenly devil bloodline. Knowing the relationship between Mo Qingyun and Mo, in Murong Qingyu's eyes, Mo was equal to Mo Qingyun. Really? That's great. Hearing Murong Qingyu's words, Mo's face revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. His expression revealed expectation. He wanted to see what kind of growth Murong Qingyu's bloodline would have after refining the charm heavenly demon bloodline. On the other hand, when Murong Qinyu refined the charming heavenly demon blood vein, the charming poisonous fragrance in his body could also be dissolved. In the process of refining the heart of charm, I can't be disturbed in the slightest. I may need you to guard me. Thinking about the process of refining the heart of charm, Murong Qinyu revealed a worried expression and asked Mo for help. Hearing Murong Qingyu's request, Mo's face revealed a serious expression. With a firm tone, he promised, "Don't worry about refining the heart of charm. With me here, I won't let anyone disturb you." "Thank you, Qingyun." Murong Qinyu smiled sweetly. After thanking Mo, she began to refine the heart of charm. At this moment, when Murong Qinyu was refining the heart of charm, the charming fairy pavilion suddenly shook. Boom boom boom. Following that, a series of earth-shaking and mountain-shaking noises came from outside the charming fairy pavilion. After discovering this situation, Mo revealed a shocked expression and asked, "Qinyu, Such a movement appeared in the inheritance palace? Could it be related to you refining the heart of charm? In Mo's view, such a situation should be related to Morong Chinyu. After all, such a situation appeared after Morong Chinyu refined the heart of charm. The heart of charm is closely connected with the charming fairy palace. Because I refined the heart of charm, it caused the charming fairy palace to have a reaction. Hearing Mo's puzzled words, Morong Chinyu gave a simple explanation. Her expression became dignified, and she said, Chinyun, under the influence of the heart of charm that I have refined, the charming poisonous fragrance outside the charming fairy palace may become thinner and thinner. It will no longer have the effect of blocking. It won't be able to obstruct anymore? Mo's expression became startled. Her expression also became serious. She realized that this was not a good result. Once the charming poisonous fragrance disappeared, those people outside the charming fairy palace would no longer be obstructed. If Han Ci Luo and the others entered the charming fairy palace, it would be very difficult for Mo Chinyun to stop them. This was indeed troublesome. Seeing Mo's serious expression, Morong Chinyu was silent for a moment. She made a difficult decision and said, Chinyun, at that time, if you really can't stop them, you should leave alone. Don't be chased by the entire immortal clan because of me. Don't think too much. You can refine the heart of charm at ease. Leave the rest to me. Hearing Morong Chinyu's words, Mo firmly replied, hinting Morong Chinyu not to think too much. Seeing Mo's expression, Morong Chinyu no longer thought too much. She seized the time to refine the heart of charm. Morong Chinyu thought in her heart, the earlier she refined the heart of charm, the safer Mo Chinyun would be. With the strength of Han Ci Luo and the others, I won't be able to stop them for too long. I must speed up Chinyo's refining speed. Thinking of the strength of Han Ci Luo and the others, Mo quickly realized the seriousness of the situation. He could not afford to be careless. After thinking like this, he arranged a time shift formation around Morong Chinyu to speed up Morong Chinyo's refining speed. As long as Morong Chinyu refined the heart of charm, Mo Chinyun's charming poisonous fragrance could be dissolved. There was no need to worry about Han Ci Luo and the others discovering anything. Because Mo was not Mo Chinyun, his ability to arrange formations was still somewhat lacking compared to Mo Chinyun. After several hours, under Mo's great efforts, he finally completed a 10 times time shift formation. Although it was only a 10 times time shift formation, it was enough to play a big role and save a lot of time. The charming fairy pavilion is the only way for everyone to come here. If I arrange a formation here, I should be able to buy a lot of time. After arranging the time shift formation beside Morong Chinyu, Mo looked at the Isle of the Charming Beauty. He had a new plan in his heart. Then, Mo walked to the Isle of the Charming Beauty and began to arrange a formation in the isle. In order to speed up the formation, Mo Chinyun sent Mo Zai out of the 5-directional small pagoda and let her cooperate with Mo to arrange the formation. With Mo Zai's help, Mo's speed of arranging the formation immediately became much faster. Although it was still not comparable to Mo Chinyun, it still surpassed ordinary Tier 4 formation masters. Chapter 1391. Outside the charming fairy palace. Due to Morong Chinyu, the charming poisonous fragrance became thinner and was quickly discovered by Han Ci Luo and the others. The charming poisonous fragrance seems to have become thinner, and its corrosive power has weakened a lot. It has indeed become thinner. If it becomes thinner, the minor star-level experts can enter. Get some lesser star-level cultivators to prepare. When the charming poisonous fragrance becomes a bit thinner, let them enter the inheritance palace. Seeing the charming poisonous fragrance become thinner, the eyes of the major forces lit up and they ordered their people to prepare. Soon, the people of the major forces were looking forward to it, waiting for the charming poisonous fragrance to become thinner. If the minor star-level experts also enter the Inheritance Palace, Junior Apprentice Brother Mo will be in a bad situation. Han Ci Luo had a solemn expression. She was worried for Mo Qingyun and didn't want to see this situation. Because, from the performance of the major forces before, they had already regarded Mo Qingyun as a thorn in their side. Now that they had this opportunity, they must find a way to get rid of Mo Qingyun and cut off the chance of the Eternal South Immortal Palace to grow stronger. After hearing Han Ci Luo's words, Gu Linxing and the others kept nodding, expressing their agreement with Han Ci Luo's point of view. Although Mo Qingyun had the strength to kill a minor star-level expert, facing the siege of a large number of minor star-level experts, he would probably be in a perilous situation. Of course, what worried Gu Linxing and the others the most was that if the charming poisonous fragrance continued to become thinner, even the major star-level experts could enter the Inheritance Palace. At that time, Mo Qingyun's situation would be even more dangerous. This was not what Han Ci Luo and the others wanted to see. Senior Apprentice Brother Han, Junior Apprentice Brother Mo's strength is far beyond his realm. Minor star-level experts can't do anything to him. You don't have to worry too much, Gu Linxing comforted. Hearing Gu Linxing's words, Han Ci Luo's expression improved a little, but she was still worried for Mo Qingyun. About a day later, the charming poisonous fragrance outside the charming fairy palace could finally allow the minor star-level experts to safely pass through. Immediately, the minor star-level experts of the major forces passed through the charming poisonous fragrance and entered the charming fairy palace. Mo Qingyun knew nothing about the situation in the outside world. What he wanted to do now was to use Mo and Mo Zai to set up the formation as quickly as possible. Under Mo and Mo Zai's formations, the nearly 10,000-meter walkway of the charming fairy pavilion was filled with formations. At this rate, we'll be able to cover the entire charming fairy pavilion in 3 days. Seeing the speed at which the two of them set up the formation, Mo silently calculated in his heart, and a joyful smile appeared on his face. Mo Zai frowned when she heard Mo's words. She revealed a grave expression and said, "I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Although our speed of setting up the formation isn't slow, the large amount of materials used to set up the formation has reached an extremely terrifying speed. With the current rate of consumption, all the materials will be used up in 2 days. I forgot about that. This is going to be troublesome." After Mo Zai's reminder, Mo suddenly thought of this, and his expression immediately became serious. If that was the case, the amount of time they could hold off the crowd would be reduced by 1/3. Let's hurry up and set up the formation first. We'll talk about the rest when the time comes. After saying that to Mo Zai continued to set up formations in the charming fairy pavilion to stop the others. Afterwards, time passed unknowingly as Mo and Mo Zai set up the formation. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. With Mo and Mo Zai setting up the formation at full speed, they finally used up all the materials. Original body, all the materials have been used up. As the materials used up, Mo Qingyun, who was in the 5 Directions Pagoda, received a soul message from Mo. Since the materials have been used up, there's no point for Mo Zai to remain outside. After hearing Mo's message, Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and sent Mo Zai into the 5 Directions Pagoda. Mo Zai entered the 5 Directions Pagoda and stood before Mo Qingyun. She said, "Original body, my cultivation has already reached the limits of the heavenly immortal realm. I need to enter secluded cultivation to break through to the true immortal realm. I'm afraid I won't be able to help you for the time being." "You don't have to worry about that. Just focus on breaking through to the true immortal realm." Mo Qingyun instructed Mo Zai and let her break through to the true immortal realm. After receiving Mo Qingyun's instructions, Mo Zai didn't delay any longer and immediately set out to break through to the true immortal realm. Outside the Five Directions Pagoda. When Mo Zai entered the Five Directions Pagoda, several familiar figures appeared in front of Mo. When these people saw Mo, they all revealed sinister smiles, and complacent expressions appeared on their faces. These people were Li Wenla and the others who'd caught up. Mo Qingyun, keep running. Why aren't you running anymore? Li Wenla laughed arrogantly when he saw Mo in front of him. He looked like he had Mo in his grasp. Presumably, in his opinion, the reason why Mo was standing there without moving was because she was unable to resist the charm. If that was the case, they didn't have to worry about Mo escaping when they dealt with him this time. Li Wenla, it's you. Mo's expression couldn't help but change when he saw Li Wenla and the others. He hadn't expected them to catch up so quickly. After a brief moment of surprise, a smile appeared on Mo's face. He looked like he was toying with his prey. Mo Qingyun, you can still smile? Yuan Kong revealed a sinister expression when he saw the faint smile on Mo's face. He said sinisterly, I'd like to see if you can still smile in a while. Junior brother Yuan Kong, he's just forcing himself to smile. It's very likely that the lower half of his body is already shedding tears. Mo Qingyun, do you want to wipe your little brother's tears? Don't let him catch a cold because his pants are wet. This kid is full of trick. Let's not waste words with him. Let's kill him first. That's right. Let's kill him first, lest something unexpected happens later. Li Wenla and the others discussed and decided to join forces to deal with Mo Qingyun. They were worried that something might happen later. Seeing the actions of Li Wenla and the others, Mo still had a faint smile on his face. He said in a provocative tone, Come at me if you want to. Do you only know how to fart with your mouth? Mo Qingyun, don't be so arrogant. You'll die soon. Hearing Mo Qingyun's arrogant words, Li Wenla's face sank. He looked very angry. Mo chose to ignore Li Wenla's anger. He continued to provoke and taunt him. If I'm not wrong, you guys haven't attacked me yet because you can't resist the charm, right? Li Wenla and the others were silent. They couldn't deny the truth of Mo's words. Since you can't resist the charm of the portrait of beauty, then stay where you are. Looking at the silent Mo and the others, Mo's face was full of disdain and taunts as he taunted them. Mo Qingyun, since you're in a hurry to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Under Mo's taunts, Li Wenla and the others were thoroughly enraged. They immediately charged at Mo. Chapter 1392. Seeing the actions of Li Wenla and the others, a faint smile appeared on Mo's face. He had achieved his goal. Then, Mo's figure flashed and rushed into the array. Trying to escape? It's too late. Seeing Mo running forward, Li Wenla smiled coldly and chased after Mo. In his opinion, Mo's current behavior was undoubtedly a sign of fear. Soon after, Li Wenla's body flashed a few times, and he entered the formation. Seeing Li Wenla and the others enter the array formation, Mo's footsteps came to a halt. He sized up Li Wenla and the others with a mocking expression. This time, he wanted to catch Li Wenla and the others in one fell swoop. Li Wenla didn't know what Mo was thinking. When he saw Mo stop, he thought that Mo had nowhere to run. Mo Qingyun, why aren't you running anymore? Why don't you continue to run? Li Wenla crossed his arms and looked at Mo like he was toying with his prey. Run? Is there a need? Mo curled his lips and looked at Li Wenla and the others indifferently. He felt some sympathy for them. These guys didn't even know that they were about to die. It was sad enough. You're still so stubborn even when you're about to die. I want to see how long you can keep your mouth shut. Seeing that Mo wasn't backing down, Li Wenla roared and rushed at Mo again. Seeing Li Wenla rushing at him, Mo was disappointed. He couldn't help but shake his head and say, Li Wenla, I think you're the one who's about to die. Look carefully, can you get close to me now? Li Wenla and the others' expressions changed. They realized that something was wrong. No matter how they rushed forward, they couldn't get close to Mo, let alone hurt him. Array! Seeing this situation, Li Wenla and the others were shocked, and a bad feeling rose in their hearts. They had unknowingly fallen into Mo Qingyun's array. This was a terrifying situation. They still had some understanding of Mo Qingyun's attainments in formations. He was one of the top tier 4 array masters. With Mo Qingyun's attainments in array formations, the array formations that he set up were not something that they could contend against. You're not stupid. You know that you've fallen into a formation. Momo smiled playfully as he looked at the panicked Li Wenla and the others. His expression gradually turned cold as he said, "Since you know, it's time to send you on your way." Li Wenla and the others trembled. Mo Qingyun, we are all geniuses of the 3 immortal domains. If you dare to kill us, the major powers of the 3 immortal domains will not let you off. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was about to kill them, Li Wenla immediately panicked and threatened Mo Qingyun. Are you trying to scare me? Since you can kill me, why can't I kill you? Momo curled his lips in disdain at Li Wenla's threat. He said coldly, I don't mind telling you that I hate it when people threaten me. If I, Mo Qingyun, want to kill someone, no one can stop me. Mo paused for a moment before continuing, besides, even if I kill all of you, who would know? Kill. As soon as Momo finished speaking, he no longer hesitated and immediately activated the array to kill them. A strange handprint flew out from Momo's hand and into the sky above Li Wenla and the others. Then, golden light shone brightly above Li Wenla and the others, giving off a terrifying aura. Following the terrifying aura, rays of resplendent sword light rapidly condensed within the array. These sword rays condensed into form and blasted towards Li Wenla and the others with the force of a thunderbolt. However, Momo and Momo Zai's abilities were limited, and Mo Qingyun did not have enough materials to refine the array. Therefore, the array that the two of them had set up was not of a particularly high grade. It could barely be considered a level 4 array. It would be difficult to kill Li Wenla and the others with a formation of this grade. Li Wenla and the others did not dare to be careless in the face of the countless sword lights. They immediately took out their weapons to defend themselves. Under the resistance of Li Wenla and the others, the sword lights that shot towards them were instantly destroyed. So it's only a level 3 array. Li Wenla was pleasantly surprised when he saw that the array's power was not strong. He looked at Momo and said disdainfully, Mo Qingyun, it seems that the rumors about you being an array genius are exaggerated. Your array skills are only SOSO. Everyone, don't be afraid. This is only a level 3 array. Let's work together to break it. After knowing the grade of the array, Li Wenla was no longer afraid and hurriedly instructed the others. Hearing Li Wenla's words, the others' expressions changed and they all worked together to break the array. It's not that easy to break the array. Seeing the actions of Li Wenla and the others, Momo's expression was cold as he shouted, even a level 3 array is more than enough to kill you all. Soul prison. After Momo's words, he no longer hesitated and immediately attacked Li Wenla and the others. Shortly after, a beam of light shot out from between Momo's eyebrows and a soul-stirring eye appeared. After the eye appeared, a terrifying soul energy exploded from it. This soul power burst out and turned into soul iron chains, smashing into the minds of Li Wenla and the others. Aha! Li Wenla and the others immediately screamed when they were attacked by the soul chains. Their consciousness became hazy. Because Li Wenla and the others were in a daze, their resistance to the sword lights immediately weakened. Puff, puff, puff! Streaks of sharp sword lights slashed across the bodies of Li Wenla and the others, leaving behind terrifying wounds. In just a short moment, Li Wenla and the others had been slaughtered by Momo. After being attacked by the sword lights, Li Wenla and the others gradually regained their consciousness. Fear appeared on their faces. If it weren't for their good luck and the sword lights didn't attack their vitals, they would have died under the sword lights. What a terrifying soul attack! Recalling Momo's soul attack, Li Wenla and the others still had lingering fear and didn't dare to be careless. At this moment, they finally realized how dangerous their current situation was. Soul prison. Looking at the nervous expressions of Li Wenla and the others, Momo didn't have any intention of being lenient. He used another soul attack on them. Following that, an even more terrifying soul energy exploded from Momo's eyes. Being attacked by this soul energy, Li Wenla and the others instantly trembled and their souls were imprisoned again. Following that, their consciousness sank and they didn't have the heart to dodge the sword lights. Not long after, dozens of people were killed on the spot under the attack of the sword light. Seeing people being killed continuously, Li Wenla's face turned pale and a strong sense of fear rose in him. They were afraid. Chapter 1393. The panic and fear of Li Wenla and the others did not cause Mo to show mercy. Soul prison. Another terrifying soul power blasted out from Mo's eyes, turning into soul chains. These soul chains attacked at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, they blasted into the consciousness of Li Wenla and the others. After being attacked by the soul chains, Li Wenla and the others became dazed again. Immediately after, the unconscious Li Wenla and the others were attacked by the sword radiance once again. Under the tyrannical attack of the sword radiance, the lives of Li Wenla and the others were harvested like chives. An hour later, most of Li Wenla and the others in the formation had been killed. Seeing that the people around them were all killed, Li Wenla and the others' faces became as white as a sheet of paper. Li Wenla's face was filled with fear. He swallowed his saliva and said in a flustered tone, "Mo Qingyun, don't go too far. Otherwise we'll fight to the death." "Fight to the death? Do you have the right to do so?" Hearing Li Wenla's words, Mo chuckled and curled his lips at Li Wenla in disdain. However, as soon as Mo finished speaking, his expression turned cold. At this moment, a golden seal suddenly appeared in Li Wenla's hand. When this golden seal was taken out, it emitted an aura that would make any powerhouse in the constellation tremble. That's right, the item in Li Wenla's hand was the protective seal that only a golden immortal powerhouse could condense. Protective seal. Seeing the item in Li Wenla's hand, Mo's face was filled with fear. He couldn't help but take a few steps back. In the face of such an attack, even if he had the protection of the formation, he couldn't guarantee his safety. "Mo Qingyun, let's make a deal now. As long as you let me go, we'll write off the conflict between us. How about that?" While using the protective seal to intimidate Mo, Li Wenla also tried to reason with Mo. He wanted to use this to save his own life. Seeing that Li Wenla was negotiating with Mo, Yuan Kong immediately panicked. He looked at Li Wenla for help and said, "Senior brother Li, take me with you and leave. I don't want to die here. As long as Senior brother Li can protect me, I'll be at your disposal in the future." "You?" Hearing Yuan Kang's words, Li Wenla curled his lips in disdain and said disdainfully, "A traitor of the Eternal South Immortal Palace is not worthy of my help. Since you can betray the Eternal South Immortal Palace, you might betray me in the future." Li Wenla's mind was very clear. He knew that people like Yuan Kang were unreliable. After rejecting Yuan Kang's request, Li Wenla looked at Mo Qingyun again. He raised his head and said arrogantly, "Mo Qingyun, what do you think? Do you want me to leave immediately, or do you want to see the power of the protective Dao Seal?" "It's just a protective Dao Seal. It's not enough to scare me." Looking at the smug and arrogant Li Wenla, the corners of Mo's mouth curled up. He quickly formed a hand seal. When this handprint was formed, it flew above Li Wenla and activated the array formation once again. Very quickly, the wind and clouds gathered above Li Wenla, condensing sword rays once again. After seeing this, Li Wenla's expression immediately trembled. He revealed a panicked expression and said, "Mo Qingyun, are you crazy? Aren't you afraid of the protective Dao seal?" Compared to Li Wenla's panic, Yuan Kong, who was beside him, was gloating. He smiled faintly and said, "Li Wenla, so what if you have the protective Dao seal? Aren't you the same as me? You're going to die here today." Looking at Yuan Kong, who was gloating, Li Wenla was so angry that his teeth itched. His expression gradually turned sinister as he shouted angrily, "Yuan Kong, you actually dare to mock me. Now I'll let you die without a burial ground." Protective Dao seal. In Li Wenla's anger, he activated the protective Dao seal and bombarded it towards Yuan Kong. Instantly, a terrifying aura that could destroy heaven and earth was emitted from the protective Dao seal. Are you crazy?" Seeing Li Wenla's action, Yuan Kang's body trembled. His expression twitched as he said in horror, "Our enemy is Mo Qingyun. Now that you're using the protective Dao seal to attack me, don't you want to live anymore?" Yuan Kong had to be afraid. The terrifying degree of the protective Dao seal was something that even constellation powerhouses had to be wary of. It was definitely not something he could contend against. "Of course I want to live. However, after I kill you, I can still leave here alive." In response to Yuan Kang's terrified words, Li Wenla smiled sinisterly. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness. In his opinion, if he wanted to leave here alive today, the protective Dao seal would not be able to hold him back. If that was the case, why didn't he kill Yuan Kong while activating the protective Dao seal? Seeing Li Wenla attack Yuan Kong, Mo's expression was slightly stunned. He was unable to react to this scene. Was this a dog-eat-dog situation? Interesting. After being stunned for a short while, Mo revealed a faint smile. He was very happy to see this scene. While Mo was muttering to himself, he did not forget to quickly retreat to avoid the impact of the protective Dao seal. Just as Mo was dodging, the protective Dao seal exploded, unleashing a power that could destroy the heavens and the earth. Boom! A loud sound was heard as a terrifying storm of immortal spiritual energy swallowed Yuan Kong. When Yuan Kong was swallowed by the storm of immortal spiritual energy, he revealed a resentful expression and furiously roared, "Li Wenla, even if you kill me today, you will die a horrible death in the future." Just as Yuan Kang's words fell, his aura disappeared. Even the aura of his soul disappeared. From the looks of it, under the impact of the protective Dao seal, his soul was destroyed. Seeing Yuan Kang's fate, Mo's expression was filled with sorrow. He did not expect Yuan Kong to die in such a way. Boom, 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 under the impact of the protective Dao seal's power, the array quickly collapsed, increasing the intensity of the storm of immortal spiritual energy. As the array collapsed, Li Wenla, who was standing at the edge of the array, quickly escaped from the array. However, although Li Wenla escaped from the array, he was still hit by the aftermath of the protective Dao seal. Being hit by the aftermath of the protective Dao seal, Li Wenla immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. He suffered heavy injuries and furiously said, "Mo Qingyun, I will remember today's enmity. In the future, I will definitely return it 10 times over." As Li Wenla's words fell, he did not dare to stay any longer and immediately escaped from the charming fairy pavilion. Looking at the escaping Li Wenla, Mo revealed a regretful expression and sighed inwardly, "What a pity. I could have caught them all in one fell swoop." Who would have thought that Li Wenla would have a protective Dao seal? After sighing with sorrow, Mo no longer thought about it. To him, Li Wenla was just a clown and was not a cause for concern. The protective Dao seal is indeed something condensed by a golden immortal powerhouse. Its destructive power is truly terrifying. Just one Dao seal was able to destroy nearly 1,000 meters of array. Looking at the protective Dao seal in front of him, Mo couldn't help but sigh. He still had lingering fear towards the Dowseal's might. With his current strength, if he was hit by the Dowseal, he would probably be blasted into nothingness. Chapter 1394. Under Mo's repair, the damaged parts of the formation began to recover bit by bit. Several hours later, under Mo's continuous repair, the area covered by the formation was extended by nearly 500 meters. Looking at the repaired formation, Mo revealed a satisfied expression and smiled faintly. Although it's not completely repaired, it can cover an area of a few hundred meters. Can hold them off for a while. After doing all this, Mo revealed a pondering expression and muttered to himself, "Right, I killed Yuan Kong and the others. If I summon them as ghosts, they should be able to obstruct them." After thinking about this, Mo began to communicate with Mo Qingyun and had Mo Qingyun summon ghosts. After receiving Mo's soul transmission, Mo Qingyun's figure moved and arrived beside Mo's soul summoning gate. After arriving beside Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately used the soul summoning gate. Shortly after, a silver-gray whirlpool of light rapidly formed not far away. After the soul summoning gate was formed, it emitted a suction force and sucked in the surrounding remnant souls. Next, ghosts with auras comparable to true immortals came out from the soul summoning gate. Seeing the ghosts being summoned one by one, Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment and summoned the 5-directional pagoda. "All of you, come out." Under Mo Qingyun's command, the last wave of ghosts were all summoned. Not long after, over 1,000 ghosts appeared around the formation. Each of them had auras comparable to true immortals. With these ghosts guarding this place, others will have to put in a lot of effort to pass through. Looking at the ghosts outside the formation, Mo Qingyun revealed a bright smile, and the worry in his heart lessened. Next, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and returned to the 5-directional pagoda. After Mo Qingyun entered the 5-directional pagoda, Mo sat cross-legged on the spot and adjusted his breathing to recover his energy. After Li Wenle escaped from the formation, he immediately ran out of the charming fairy pavilion and did not dare to stay for a second longer. After a short while, when Li Wenle escaped from the charming fairy pavilion, he saw a group of people. Every single one of these people had a cultivation of true immortal minor star. Junior brother Wenlu. When everyone saw the injured Li Wenle, they all revealed shocked expressions. They were very surprised by Li Wenle's current state. From Li Wenle's current appearance, he seemed to have gone through a life and death battle. "Junior brother Wenlu, what happened? Where are the other junior brothers?" A pinnacle lesser star realm cultivator asked the others about their situation with a nervous expression. Li Wenle's face was filled with resentment when he heard this person ask about the others. He gritted his teeth and said angrily, "Mo Qingyun killed all the other seniors and juniors from the various organizations. If it weren't for the ancestors' protective seal, I might have died already." "What? Mo Qingyun killed the juniors of the various major powers?" Hearing Li Wenle's words, everyone's faces were filled with shock. They were quite frightened by this news. If this was really the case, then Mo Qingyun was too daring. However, Mo Qingyun was just an immortal infant stage organization. How could he have such strength? At this moment, everyone's hearts were filled with confusion. They were very curious about how Mo Qingyun did it. Seeing everyone's puzzled expressions, Li Wenle's eyes turned. His gaze was dark as he slandered. If it was a direct confrontation, Mo Qingyun naturally wouldn't have the strength to do so. However, his attainments in array formations are shocking. He set up an array formation in advance to trap us. Hearing Li Wenle's words, everyone nodded continuously. They didn't doubt the truth of Li Wenle's words. They had also heard that Mo Qingyun's attainments in array formations were extraordinary. Perhaps he could really do what Li Wenle said. Li Wenle exhaled deeply, calming the anger in his heart. He continued, "Not only that, Emo Qingyun is also a spy of the immortals. He possesses a powerful immortal bloodline and has an extremely high status in the immortals. He can command countless immortals. At this moment, Li Wenle tried his best to slander Emo Qingyun with all the shit he could. Hearing Li Wenle's words, everyone's faces darkened. A strong sense of anger rose within them. This Emo Qingyun has guts. How dare he pretend to be an immortal? So Emo Qingyun is a spy of the immortals. No wonder he has such remarkable abilities. It doesn't matter if Emo Qingyun is a spy of the immortals or not. He killed so many immortals' prodigies. This person cannot be allowed to live. When we get rid of Emo Qingyun, we'll report this to the palace masters and have them punish the Eternal South Immortal Palace. That's right. If Emo Qingyun is a spy of the immortals and the Eternal South Immortal Palace is ignoring him, then it's very likely that they've submitted to the immortals as well. At this moment, not only did everyone want to kill Emo Qingyun, they were also extremely dissatisfied with the Eternal South Immortal Palace. Seeing everyone's reaction, Li Wenle smirked coldly, knowing that he'd achieved his goal. Junior brother Wenle, where is Emo Qingyun now? Take us to him immediately. After venting his dissatisfaction, a middle-aged man at the peak of the Lesser Star Realm asked Li Wenle. Hearing this, Li Wenle sneered and nodded respectfully. Senior brother Hu Gui, come with me. I'll take you to Emo Qingyun. As soon as Li Wenle finished speaking, he walked forward and led everyone to the Charming Maiden Pavilion. On the way to the Charming Maiden Pavilion, Li Wenle and the others met many people from other factions. When these people saw the posture of Li Wenle and the others, they were all very curious. They all followed behind Li Wenle and the others. Later, they learned from Li Wenle and the others that some of their geniuses had died at the hands of Emo Qingyun. They were completely enraged and immediately formed an alliance with Li Wenle and the others. Then, as time passed, Li Wenle and the others' formation grew larger and larger. When they entered the Charming Maiden Pavilion and came to the formation that Emo had set up, there were already several hundred of them. The combat strength of these several hundred people was different from that of Li Wenle and the others. They were all Lesser Star Realm experts. Ghosts. When Li Wenle and the others arrived and saw the ghosts in front of the formation, they were all shocked. Along the way they'd encountered some ghosts, but there weren't so many of them. These ghosts were all summoned by Emo Qingyun. He must be using them to protect himself. Looking at the ghosts in front of him, Li Wenle revealed a gloomy expression and said to Hu Gui and the others beside him. Li Wenle had a deep impression of Emo Qingyun's ghosts. He'd been tricked twice by them. Let's take care of these ghosts first, then we'll slowly break the formation and capture Emo Qingyun. Looking at the ghosts in front of him, Hu Gui revealed a cold expression and ordered the people beside him. Chapter 1395. Very quickly, Hu Gui and the others were engaged in a fierce battle with the ghosts. The battle was so intense that the sky turned dark. Although Hu Gui and the others' cultivation was higher than the ghosts by a small realm, there were too many of them. Therefore, Hu Gui and the others did not have the upper hand in the battle. After a while, after a round of frenzied fighting, both sides suffered casualties, and no one was able to gain much of an advantage. Seeing this result, the expressions on Hu Gui and the others' faces immediately became much more solemn. This was not a situation he wanted to see. Retreat. Seeing that the situation was far from what he had expected, Hu Gui quickly ordered the people around him to stop fighting the ghosts head-on. He knew that if this continued, it would not be good for them. If they lost too many people in the battle with the ghosts, how would they be able to break the formation and kill Emo Qingyun? After receiving Hu Gui's order, the others did not dare to hesitate and immediately retreated with Hu Gui. Hu Gui and the others' escape did not stop the ghosts from attacking. Instead, it stimulated their bloodthirsty nature. Then, under the pursuit of the ghosts, Hu Gui and the others kept escaping from the charming fairy pavilion. As Hu Gui and the others were escaping, they met many people from other forces who fought against the ghosts with them. With the help of these people, the pressure on Hu Gui and the others was greatly reduced and their combat strength was greatly increased. Soon, the ghosts were at a disadvantage and gradually fell into a situation where they were beaten up. When Hu Gui and the others were suppressing the ghosts, the people from the Eternal South Immortal Palace arrived. So many ghosts! Everyone from the Eternal South Immortal Palace was shocked when they saw the ghost fighting with Hu Gui and the others. They were scared out of their wits. Seeing the shocked faces of the people from the Eternal South Immortal Palace, Hu Gui and the others' faces darkened and a strong sense of hostility towards them. They must have thought that the people from the Eternal South Immortal Palace were Mo Qingyun's accomplices. After pondering for a moment, Hu Gui suddenly thought of a plan and said with a sly smile, "Shi Meng, these ghosts have killed many immortal cultivators. Come and help us kill them." Hearing Hu Gui's words, the expressions of the people around changed. They were surprised by Hu Gui's action. Why would Hu Gui ask for help from the Eternal South Immortal Palace? What was he up to? After a brief moment of shock, Li Wenla and the others immediately understood Hu Gui's true intentions. The ghosts were summoned by Mo Qingyun. Asking Shi Meng and the others to kill the ghosts was the same as asking them to kill each other. This was a good plan. Shi Meng did not know what Hu Gui was thinking. When he heard Hu Gui's request for help, he said to the people around him, "Junior brothers and junior sisters, let's attack together and help them kill those ghosts." "Yes, Senior Shi Meng." Hearing Shi Meng's instructions, everyone agreed and joined the battle with Shi Meng. As Shi Meng and the others joined the battle, the pressure on Hu Gui and the others was greatly reduced, and the situation became one-sided. Following that, the pursuing ghosts were slaughtered. Several hours later, under the joint efforts of Shi Meng and the others, the ghosts were finally wiped out. After killing all the ghosts, Shi Meng and the others looked exhausted. The immortal spiritual energy in their bodies had been greatly depleted. Soon after, they sat down cross-legged and adjusted their breathing to recover their immortal spiritual energy. Looking at Shi Meng and the others in front of them, Hu Gui and the others exchanged glances, and a sharp light flashed in their eyes. For some unknown reason, they suppressed the killing intent in their hearts and did not choose to attack Shi Meng and the others. Giving up on attacking Shi Meng and the others, Hu Gui and the others did not waste any more time and sat down cross-legged to recover their energy. Several hours later, under Shi Meng and the others' recuperation, the immortal spiritual energy they had just used was finally completely recovered. After recovering their immortal spiritual energy, Shi Meng and the others did not continue to stay and entered the charming fairy pavilion. Seeing Shi Meng and the others enter the charming fairy pavilion, Hu Gui's lips curled into a cold smile, and he nodded to the people around him. Seeing Hu Gui's hinting gaze, the people around him immediately understood the meaning of Hu Gui's hint. He wanted them to follow Shi Meng and the others, and let Shi Meng and the others open a path in front of them, eliminating their troubles. Then, Hu Gui and the others stood up and followed behind Shi Meng and the others unhurriedly. "Senior Hu Gui, why didn't you kill Shi Meng and the others just now? Or capture them directly?" As they followed Shi Meng and the others, a Cold Frost Immortal Palace disciple asked Hu Gui with a puzzled expression. Hearing the Cold Frost Immortal Palace disciple's question, the others were also puzzled, not understanding Hu Gui's intention. Seeing the puzzled expressions in front of him, Hu Gui's lips curled into a sinister smile, and he explained, "At the moment, we are still not sure if there will be any ghosts in front of us. Isn't it better to let Shi Meng and the others lead the way?" Hearing Hu Gui's words, the others nodded, feeling that Hu Gui's idea was good. Seeing that everyone understood his idea, Hu Gui continued, "Now, we have been following Shi Meng and the others. If there are no ghosts in front of us blocking the way, it won't be too late for us to immediately chase after them. Hearing Hu Gui's words, the others showed expressions of admiration. Hu Gui had indeed thought far ahead. Understanding Hu Gui's meaning, the others did not think too much and silently followed behind Shi Meng and the others. About 2 hours later, Shi Meng and the others arrived in front of the array. During this time, they did not encounter any ghosts. Junior brother Shi Meng, wait for us for a while, we will enter the array together. Seeing that there were no ghosts blocking the way, Hu Gui shouted to Shi Meng in front of him, and quickly led the others forward. After a while, under Hu Gui's lead, the group arrived in front of Shi Meng and the others. Senior brother Hu Gui, there is an array here blocking us. Do you have a way to break it? Seeing Hu Gui in front of him, Shi Meng's expression was serious as he asked Hu Gui. Hearing Shi Meng's words, Hu Gui's expression was instinctively stunned, not understanding the meaning of Shi Meng's words. Logically speaking, these arrays were set up by Mo Qingyun, so Shi Meng and the others should be able to pass through without any obstructions. After pondering for a while, Hu Gui did not think too much about it, and directly said to Shi Meng, Junior brother Shi Meng, it is said that these arrays were set up by Mo Qingyun of your Cold Frost Immortal Palace. Why don't you let him remove the array? Junior brother Mo set it up? Shi Meng's face was filled with shock, and he was very surprised by this. However, Shi Meng's heart was quickly relieved. Mo Qingyun was Bai Jianying's disciple, and had received Bai Jianying's teachings. It was not strange for him to be able to set up such an array. After pondering for a while, Shi Meng shouted into the array, Junior brother Mo, Senior brother Han asked us to help you. Please open the array and let us in. Seeing Shi Meng's actions, Hu Gui and the others immediately revealed a mischievous smile, and a sense of pride rose in their hearts. Chapter 1396. The people from the Eternal South Immortal Palace are here? Hearing the voice outside the formation, Mo stopped cultivating and looked at Shi Meng and the rest. Li Wenla? The people from the East Dawn Immortal Palace? Seeing Li Wenla and the rest beside Shi Meng, Mo frowned and immediately raised his guard. Shi Meng and the rest appeared together with Li Wenla and even asked him to open the formation. Wasn't this a little strange? Humph. I'd like to see what tricks you can play. Glancing at Li Wenla and the rest, Mo's lips curled into a playful smile. Then, Mo opened the formation and allowed Shi Meng and the rest to enter. With the formation protecting him, Mo wasn't afraid of Li Wenla and the rest playing tricks. He was afraid that they wouldn't dare to enter the formation. As the formation was opened, Mo, who was standing in the formation, appeared in everyone's sight. However, Mo didn't walk forward. He just stood in the formation and cupped his hands. Qin Yun greets senior brothers. Senior brothers, please enter the formation. Although Shi Meng and the rest were disciples of the Eternal South Immortal Palace, Missouri Mo couldn't guarantee that they would be loyal to the Eternal South Immortal Palace. He also couldn't guarantee that they would risk their lives to protect him. Therefore, it wasn't a bad thing for him to be careful. After all, he wasn't Mo Qingyun's original body. In addition to having various powerful superpowers, he also had the absolute beginning creation bloodline. Even if his physical body was destroyed, he could still be reborn under the recovery of the absolute beginning creation bloodline. Junior brother Mo, there's no need to be so polite. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Shi Meng and the rest smiled and cupped their hands at Mo in response. Then, they walked into the formation without any other thoughts. In their hearts, they admired Mo Qingyun very much. Seeing Shi Meng and the rest walk into the formation, Hu Gui and the rest hesitated and wondered if they should enter the formation. Mo Qingyun only opened the formation and didn't remove it. If they entered the array formation and Mo Qingyun activated the array formation to deal with them, they would be in a passive situation. However, if they didn't enter the formation, it would seem that they were overthinking things and measuring the heart of a gentleman with the yardstick of a villain. Looking at Hu Gui and the others outside, Momo smiled faintly and said in a mocking tone, "Senior brothers, aren't you going to enter the formation? Now that the formation has been opened, why haven't you entered the formation yet?" Since Li Wunla and the others wanted to play, Mo decided to accompany them to the end. Hearing Mo's words, the faces of Li Wunla and the others immediately became gloomy and uncertain. To enter or not to enter? After a short while, after an intense mental struggle, Hu Gui finally decided to enter the formation. Hu Gui made a decision in his heart. He threw a glance at Li Wunla, indicating for Li Wunla and the others to follow him into the array. Hu Gui and the rest entered the array formation and immediately stood together with Shi Meng and the rest. Looking at their actions, it seemed that they wanted to use Shi Meng and the others as meat shields and use his body to defend against attacks. Presumably, that was what they were thinking. If they stood together with Shi Meng and the others, Mo would be a little more cautious when attacking. He was afraid that he would accidentally injure Shi Meng and the others. Seeing Hu Gui and the others' actions, Mo's eyes narrowed slightly. He immediately understood what they were thinking. However, Mo didn't expose them. He only smiled meaningfully and said to himself, "These guys are quite crafty. However, this little trick is useless." Hu Gui and the others didn't know that as long as Mo activated the formation, they would quickly be separated from Shi Meng and the others. Thus, their current actions were completely whimsical. After standing together with Shi Meng and the others, Hu Gui and the others' expressions became much more relaxed. It was as if they were assured of their safety. Then, Hu Gui raised his head and looked at Mo with an arrogant expression. He asked with slight displeasure, "Junior brother Mo, the treasures of the charming fairy pavilion can only be obtained by the fated person. You set up a formation here to obstruct everyone. Isn't that a bit too much? Is it?" Mo smiled in an unconcerned manner at Hu Run's question. He replied with a calm expression, "Right now, a friend of mine is refining a treasure in the charming fairy pavilion. She cannot be disturbed in the slightest. I set up a formation here to protect her. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with that, right? Refining a treasure? Could it be the inheritance of the charming fairy pavilion?" Hearing Mo's reply, Hu Gui and the others' expressions shook. Greed appeared on their faces. If that was the case, they couldn't waste any more time. They had to stop that person immediately. Thinking of this, Hu Gui's face sunk. His expression became even more displeased as he angrily rebuked, "Do you know that your actions have harmed everyone's interests? How do you think we should deal with this?" Hearing Hu Gui's words, the others acted as if they were facing a common enemy, expressing their displeasure towards Mo. Seeing the displeasure on Hu Gui and the others' faces, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain. He swept his gaze over Hu Gui and the others and said, "So what if I've harmed your interests? What does this have to do with me? Am I very close to you? Do I need to consider your interests?" This under Mo's continuous questioning, Hu Gui and the others were at a loss for words. They had no choice but to retort. Mo was right. They didn't seem to be close, right? If that was the case, whether they could obtain anything or not had nothing to do with Mo. After a brief moment of speechlessness, Hu Gui revealed a displeased expression. He gloomily glared at Mo and said, "Mo Qingyun, do you want to become enemies with the entire three immortal realms? Do you have to think about the consequences of this? So what if I become enemies with the entire three immortal realms?" Seeing that Hu Gui and the others were about to turn hostile, Mo retorted without backing down. He quickly formed a hand seal and said angrily, "Cut the crap. If you want to take something from me, then bring it on." As soon as Mo finished speaking, the hand seal flew out from his hand and into the air above Shi Meng and the others. Very soon, a dazzling light suddenly blossomed and instantly enveloped Shi Meng and the others, separating them from Li Wunla and the others. Seeing that Shi Meng and the others were separated, Hu Gui and the others immediately panicked and appeared to be at a loss for what to do. Without the protection of Shi Meng and the others, they were in a dangerous situation. They didn't expect Mo to have such a trick up his sleeve. This time they had miscalculated. Now, just as Hu Gui and the others were panicking, Mo formed another hand seal and activated the formation to attack Hu Gui and the others. Very soon, streaks of sharp sword radiance rapidly formed within the formation and blasted toward Hu Gui and the others. Mo Qingyun, do you really want to become enemies with all the major forces? Mo Qingyun, if you do this, you will only cause the Eternal South Immortal Palace to fall into an irrecoverable situation. Mo Qingyun, let's talk things over. Don't fight and kill. Seeing Mo's domineering attitude, Hu Gui and the others had different expressions and voiced their thoughts. At this moment, they were truly afraid. Chapter 1397. Mo chose to ignore Hu Gui and the rest's pleas. His attacks did not stop at all. Seeing Mo Qingyun's domineering performance, Shi Meng and the rest were shocked. They admired Mo Qingyun even more. Facing so many people from the Immortal Clan, he could still be so domineering. Ordinary people could not do it. However, while Shi Meng and the rest admired him, they also had some worries in their hearts. Junior brother Mo, these people have a high status in the various factions. If we kill them all, I'm afraid there will be quite a bit of trouble, Shi Meng said with a worried expression. Senior brother Shi Meng, you don't have to worry about this. Without waiting for Shi Meng to finish speaking, Mo raised his hand and interrupted him. He said with a cold expression, even if I don't kill them, I'm afraid the various factions won't let me go. If that's the case, why should I be merciful? I might as well kill a few to my heart's content. After Mo finished speaking, he ignored Shi Meng and the rest and decisively attacked Hu Gui and the rest. Seeing Mo's actions, Shi Meng and the rest's expressions trembled. They were extremely respectful towards Mo. Although Mo's words were like that, the only person who could really do it was probably Mo alone. Seeing that Mo ignored their threats, Hu Gui and the rest immediately panicked. Their faces turned pale. This situation was too different from what they had expected. Before Hu Gui and the others could recover from their panic, streaks of sharp and imposing sword rays bombarded in front of them. Facing the sword rays, Hu Gui and the rest did not dare to be careless. They hurriedly took out their weapons to block with all their might. Under the full force of Hu Gui and the rest, the streaks of sword rays that bombarded them were successfully blocked. However, Hu Gui and the rest did not have the slightest intention of relaxing because of this. They knew that as time continued to pass, their situation would become worse and worse. Therefore, they had to seize the time to escape from the array. Seeing Hu Gui and the rest block the sword rays, Mo frowned slightly. He was thinking of how to increase the lethality of the array. After thinking for a while, Mo had an idea. He decided to borrow the strength of Shi Meng and the rest. Senior brother Shi Meng, since senior brother Han asked you to help me kill Hu Gui and the rest now. Hearing Mo's request, Shi Meng and the others were shocked. They were very shocked by Mo's request. Although the Eternal South Immortal Palace and the Eastern Dawn Immortal Palace were not on good terms, such a massacre had never happened before. After hesitating for a moment, Shi Meng clenched his teeth and made a difficult decision. In a deep voice he said, since Senior Han has arranged for us to help Junior Brother, we will obey Junior Brother's orders. Seeing Shi Meng's performance, Mo revealed a satisfied smile and said, later, I will use the formation to teleport a group of people to you. You just have to do your best to kill them. Alright. Shi Meng and the others nodded, understanding what they had to do. After giving Shi Meng's group some instructions, Mo no longer hesitated and began to move the people from the various large factions. Very quickly, several dozen people from various major forces were sent in front of Shi Meng and the others. Kill. When Shi Meng and the others saw the people from the various factions appear, they attacked without hesitation, displaying a thunderous aura. Under the attacks of Shi Meng and the others, the people from the various factions were hit by the attacks before they could even react. Bang bang bang, after receiving the full force attacks of Shi Meng and the others, the people from the various factions were sent flying and fell to the ground, losing their ability to fight. After these people from the various factions lost their ability to fight, they looked at Shi Meng and the others in horror. Now that even Shi Meng and the others had attacked, their last glimmer of hope was completely shattered. Since they had already attacked, Shi Meng and the others did not think too much and killed the people in front of them without hesitation. Soul Prison. When Shi Meng and the others attacked, Mo did not stay idle and released a soul attack without hesitation. Under Mo's attack, several imposing soul chains slammed into Hu Gui and the others' sea of consciousness. Immediately, Hu Gui and the others' souls were attacked overbearingly and imprisoned by the soul chains. With their souls imprisoned by the soul chains, Hu Gui and the others immediately lost their ability to resist the attacks of the sword rays. Puff puff puff, several sharp sword rays pierced through the bodies of Hu Gui and the others. In a short moment, dozens of people from Hu Gui's group were killed by the sword rays. In addition to the dozens of people killed by Shi Meng and the others, Hu Gui and the others had lost over 100 people in less than a quarter of an hour. Seeing that over 100 people from their side had died in a short moment, Hu Gui and the others became even more panicked. If this continued, they would really be dead today. This formation's grade isn't high. If we attack it with all our might, we can quickly break it. Sensing the grade of the formation, Hu Gui reminded the people beside him and attacked the formation madly. Under the frenzied attacks of Hu Gui and the others, the formation immediately shook and looked like it was on the verge of collapse. Seeing this scene, Hu Gui and the others were delighted and attacked with even more strength. Want to break the formation? It's not that easy. Seeing through Hu Gui and the others' intentions, Mo naturally would not let them and immediately stop them. However, the formation that trapped Hu Gui and the others now could not even be considered a level 4 formation after all. Therefore, it was unrealistic to use such a formation to trap Hu Gui and the others. Bang! After about an hour, the formation that trapped Hu Gui and the others was finally broken. After breaking the formation that trapped them, Hu Gui led a small group of people and quickly escaped from the formation. Although Hu Gui and the others had escaped, Li Wenla and the others who were trapped in another formation were not so lucky. It's not a formation? Seeing that Li Wenla and the others were still trapped, Hu Gui was immediately shocked and a bad feeling rose in his heart. In this case, Li Wenla and the others were doomed. With Li Wenla and the others' strength, it was unlikely that they could break a formation. This was because Mo, who was in the formation, would not give them another chance. At this moment, just as Hu Gui and the others were worried, a large group of people suddenly appeared not far away and quickly approached them. Every one of these people had a strong physique and exuded a valiant aura, causing people to be intimidated. God Tribe. After seeing these people, Hu Gui and the others' faces turned pale and despair appeared on their faces. To think that they had just left the tiger's den but immediately entered the wolf's den. It was really unfortunate enough. The number of God Tribe members that appeared at present was extremely large. A rough estimate was roughly equivalent to 3 times of Hu Gui and the others. Facing so many God Tribe members, Hu Gui and the others were most likely doomed. When Mo, who was in the formation, saw this scene before his eyes, he could not help sighing and said, "Looks like even heaven isn't helping you guys." Chapter 1398. Mo sighed with emotion. He then ignored Hu Gui and the others. After all, Hu Gui and the others were most likely doomed. After retracting his gaze from Hu Gui and the others, Mo looked at Li Wenla and the others in the formation. He was prepared to kill them as soon as possible. Without Hu Gui and the others to share the attack, Li Wenla and the others' situation immediately became worrisome. Of course, the situation of Hu Gui and the others outside the formation was not much better than Li Wenla and the others. Next, whether it was Li Wenla and the others inside the formation or Hu Gui and the others outside the formation, they were all in a state of massacre. As time passed, the number of people on Li Wenla and Hu Gui's side decreased at a straight line. After a few hours, under Mo's tyrannical massacre, there were only a few people left in Li Wenla and the others inside the formation. It was unknown whether it was Mo's intention or Li Wenla's luck, but he was still alive. Looking at Mo, who was slowly approaching, Li Wenla's face twitched. He said in horror, "Mo Qingyun, don't go too far. Otherwise, it won't be good for anyone." "Li Wenla, are you trying to scare me?" Hearing Li Wenla's words, Mo curled his lips in disdain and said with a mocking expression, "If you still have a protection seal, you can use it and see if it can do anything to me." Hearing Mo's words, Li Wenla was speechless and his face turned pale. How could he possibly have so many Dao protection seals? The protection seal from before was given to him by Palace Master Li Chang when he broke through to the heavenly immortal realm and became the #1 junior in the East Dawn Immortal Palace. Now that the protection Dao seal had been used, where was he going to get another one? Seeing Li Wenla's reaction, a faint smile appeared on Mo's face. He knew that Li Wenla did not have any protection seals. Since Li Wenla did not have any protection seals, there was nothing for him to worry about. "Since you don't have any protection seals, you can't blame me for this." Mo's expression turned cold. He did not waste time talking nonsense with Li Wenla and activated the formation again to kill Li Wenla and the others. Soon, streaks of sword radiance with threatening auras appeared above Li Wenla and the others. Li Wenla immediately trembled when he saw the swords in the sky. His face constantly twitched as he said in fear, "Mo Qingyun, I was wrong. Please don't kill me. I'm willing to be your slave and investigate the secrets of the Eastern Dawn Immortal Palace for you." "No need." Mo directly rejected Li Wenla's pleas. This Li Wenla had schemed against him time and time again. If he didn't kill him, it would be hard to vent the hatred in his heart. After Mo finished speaking, he controlled the formation and instantly killed Li Wenla and the others. 09 Little say, net, Mo Qingyun, you've committed so many unjust acts. You'll definitely die a horrible death. Before Li Wenla died, he revealed a ferocious expression and uttered a vicious sentence. Soon after, a streak of sword light pierced through his head, wiping out his soul. He completely vanished from the world. When Li Wenla and the others were killed, Hu Gui and the others finally broke through the encirclement and escaped from the charming fairy pavilion. Seeing Hu Gui and the others break through the encirclement, Mo's expression was slightly stunned. He said in surprise, "I actually let them escape. They're pretty lucky. I hope they won't end up like Li Wenla." Mo smiled faintly as he muttered to himself. He ignored Hu Gui and the others and looked at the God clan outside the formation. In Mo's eyes, Hu Gui and the others were already at the end of their rope. They wouldn't amount to anything. The biggest threat now was the God clan in front of him. These God clan members are really troublesome. Looking at that God clan member's actions, he seems to be a formation master. Sweeping his gaze over the God clan members in front of him, Mo's brows tightly knitted together. He had a feeling that this was very troublesome. If he didn't get rid of this formation master, he would slowly break through 70% of the formations in the charming fairy pavilion. No, I have to think of a way to get rid of that person. Thinking of this, Mo's expression became serious as he thought about how to get rid of that God clan formation master. After thinking for a while, Mo no longer hesitated and decided to harass the other party to break the formation. Whether or not he could get rid of the other party, he couldn't let him break the formation in peace. The most important thing for him now wasn't to kill as many God Clan members as possible, but to delay as much time as possible. Therefore, as long as the other party couldn't break the formation, nothing else mattered. While Momo was pondering this, a corner of a low-grade array formation had already been broken. A mere level 3 formation is not enough to stop this old man. Looking at the formation obstructing him, the God Clan formation master smiled disdainfully and said arrogantly. Then, he skillfully formed a series of hand seals, continuously breaking the third-level array. Soul Prison. Seeing the God Clan formation master break the formation with all his strength, Mo released the Soul Prison without hesitation and bombarded the other party's soul. Blood-colored soul chains shot out from Mo's third eye and instantly bombarded the God Clan formation master's sea of consciousness. Humph! Being bombarded by the soul chains, the God Clan formation master groaned and his body was pushed back. Puff! Then, the God Clan formation master spat out a mouthful of blood, and his eyes gradually became hollow. Seeing the God Clan formation master's performance, the surrounding God Clan members were shocked and asked, "Master Highway, how are you?" They couldn't help but be nervous. If the formation master didn't break the formation, they wouldn't be able to continue and wouldn't be able to obtain the inheritance. After a while, under the nervous gazes of many God Clan members, Master Highway broke through the soul prison and his eyes gradually regained their clarity. "Everyone, don't worry. I was only hit by a soul attack." Seeing the nervous expressions of the surrounding people, Highway and the others comforted them and walked to the side and sat down cross-legged. He said, "The soul attack just now injured my soul. Let me rest for a while, then I will break the formation." As soon as Master Highway finished speaking, he closed his eyes and began to heal his injured soul and mind. While Master Highway was recovering, the surrounding God Clan members surrounded him to prevent him from being ambushed again. Seeing the actions of the God Clan members, Mo frowned and knew that he wouldn't have a chance to attack again. However, it was unrealistic for him to give up just like that. "I can't let the God Clan formation master recover. His soul is injured now and it's the best chance to get rid of him." Seeing the situation of the God Clan formation master, Mo pondered and didn't want to let go of this opportunity to kill him. Chapter 1399. Inside the 5-Directional Miniature Pagoda. Primogenitor, I've encountered some trouble and I need your help. Mo's soul transmission appeared in Mo Qingyun's mind. Hearing Mo's soul transmission, Mo Qingyun didn't think too much and left the 5-Directional Miniature Pagoda. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of Mo and asked, "What trouble have you encountered?" "Primogenitor, that God tribe member is a mid-tier level 4 array master. His existence is quite troublesome." Seeing Mo Qingyun appear in front of him, Mo pointed at the recovering Master Highway and introduced him. "If we don't get rid of him, he'll probably break through 70% of the array that Mo Zai and I set up." Hearing Mo's words, Mo Qingyun's expression turned grave and he said in a deep voice, "Based on what you said, this person is indeed troublesome. We can't leave him alive. Just now, I released the soul prison and heavily injured him, preventing him from continuing to break the array. However, I can't stop him for too long." After roughly describing the situation, Mo's expression turned grave and he continued, "Furthermore, he's been injured just now. He'll definitely be on guard next. In addition, there are many God tribe members guarding him. It'll be very difficult for me to continue to injure him." Hearing Mo's words, Mo Qingyun roughly guessed his thoughts and said in a deep voice, "So, you want to find an opportunity to kill him while he's injured?" "Yes." Since Mo Qingyun had guessed his thoughts, Mo didn't try to hide it and nodded. I want Primogenitor to take action now. He'll summon the remnant souls in the surroundings and turn them into ghosts to entangle the God Tribe members outside the array. After that, we'll find an opportunity to kill the God Tribe's array master. Without him, the remaining God Tribe members won't be a problem. That's a good idea. We can give it a try. After hearing Mo's thoughts, Mo Chingyun nodded in agreement. He felt that they could give it a try. Soul Summoning Gate. Knowing Mo Chingyun's thoughts, Mo Chingyun didn't waste any more time and immediately used the Soul Summoning Gate. He wanted to summon a large number of ghosts to entangle the divine race outside the formation before the divine race's formation master recovered. Otherwise, once the formation master of the Protoss recovered, it would be very difficult for them to kill the formation master of the Protoss even if the ghosts went to entangle the other Protoss. Soon, a silver-gray whirlpool of light rapidly formed within the formation. Immediately after, a terrifying devouring power was emitted from the devouring gate, devouring the surrounding soul remnants. As these remnant souls were devoured, lesser star-level ghosts walked out of the soul summoning gate one after another. As Mo Chingyun used the gate of summoning to summon one ghost after another, he suddenly had an idea. He smiled faintly and said, "Since I've already made my move, I'll give you a hand and reduce the difficulty of your next kill." The sealed door. As soon as Mo Chingyun finished speaking, he used the sealed door on Master Highway, sealing Master Highway's divine soul and bloodline. A mini version of the light door quickly formed in front of Mo Chingyun and turned into a stream of light that blasted towards Master Highway. Master Highway, who was cultivating, didn't sense the attack of the sealed door at all. Then, the sealed door blasted into Master Highway's body and began to seal his divine soul and bloodline. After being hit by the sealed door, Master Highway's face turned pale and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Seeing Master Highway's appearance, the surrounding Protoss expressions changed drastically. They asked nervously, "Master Highway, are you all right?" Master Highway suppressed the surging blood in his chest and said with a pained expression, "My bloodline and divine soul have been sealed by a force." Cough, cough, cough. Before Master Highway could finish speaking, he spat out a few more mouthfuls of blood and his face turned even paler. Then, Master Highway's aura started to weaken rapidly. In a short period of time, Master Highway's cultivation fell from the lesser star level to the beginner star level. "Master Highway, what happened to your cultivation?" Sensing the change in Master Highway's aura, a young Protoss looked at Master Highway in shock. This situation was completely unexpected to him. Now that Master Highway's cultivation had fallen, wouldn't it be even more difficult for him to break the formation? "My cultivation has only been temporarily suppressed. However, I'm afraid I won't be able to break the formation in the near future," Master Highway replied weakly. He looked helpless and waved his hand at the people around him. He didn't expect to end up in such a situation because of a moment of carelessness. Hearing Master Highway's words, all of the God race members wore solemn expressions. A strong sense of anger rose within them. This despicable fellow hid in the dark and launched a sneak attack. "Once we break the formation, I'll tear him to pieces." Although he injured Master Highway with a sneak attack, he can't change the outcome. The Protoss soldiers were indignant. Their faces were filled with anger as they cursed angrily. Bam! 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 Just as the Protoss soldiers were raging, a series of shocking footsteps came from within the formation. Then, they saw one figure after another running out of the formation. "It's the ghosts again." Seeing the ghost running out of the formation, the expressions of the God Clan soldiers changed. They were shocked by this scene. They didn't expect so many ghosts to be hidden within the formation. After a brief moment of shock, the leader of the Protoss soldiers shouted angrily, "Everyone, follow me and kill the ghosts." We can't let them affect Master Highway's recovery. Then, the Protoss soldiers pounced on the ghosts and fought with them. Mo Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile when he saw the God Race soldiers fighting with the ghosts. He instructed Mo, "In a moment, I will release the soul prison to attack the God Race Array Master and imprison his soul. After that, you will attack and destroy his soul." "Alright." Mo nodded in agreement with Mo Qingyun's suggestion. Soul prison. Mo Qingyun's left eye shone brightly and a ray of gray light shot toward Master Highway. The ray of gray light turned into soul chains and entered Master Highway's mind. Master Highway's body trembled when he was hit by Mo Qingyun's soul attack. He couldn't help but widen his eyes. When Master Highway widened his eyes, his gaze became empty. His soul had been forcefully imprisoned. While Master Highway's soul was being imprisoned, another overbearing soul attack blasted into his sea of consciousness. Once again, Master Highway's soul was destroyed and completely disappeared from the world. With his soul destroyed, Master Highway slowly closed his eyes and the aura on his body dissipated. Chapter 1400. Master Highway is dead. Sensing that Master Highway's aura had dissipated, one of the God Race soldiers realized that something was amiss and said in a panic. Hearing this God Race soldier's words, the other God Race soldiers were immediately alarmed and had a bad feeling. They had fallen for Mo's plan to lure the tiger away from the mountain. Immediately, the God Race soldiers came to Master Highway's side to check on his condition. The result was terrible. Master Highway was really dead, and even his soul had been destroyed. Master Highway was dead. After getting such a result, the Protoss soldiers felt as if their chests had been hit by a sledgehammer, producing a thick, stuffy feeling. Without Master Highway, they would not be able to break the formation, let alone fight for the inheritance item. Ah! The God Race soldiers roared and vented their anger. They began to slaughter the ghosts that were attacking them. Under the God Race soldiers' frenzied attacks, the ghosts that were attacking them were immediately slaughtered. Moments later, under the God Race soldiers' tyrannical attacks, the ghosts were finally wiped out. However, Master Highway, who had been killed by Mo Qingyun and Mo, would never come back to life. What should we do now? Without Master Highway, we can't break the formation. Looking at the formation that was blocking their path, a God Race soldier had a grave expression and asked the people around him for their thoughts. Hearing the God Race soldier's question, the God Race soldiers fell silent. They did not know how to answer the question. The God Race soldiers were silent for a moment. Then, a blue-haired youth said coldly, "The grade of this formation is not very high. If we work together to attack it, as long as we exhaust the formation's spiritual energy, it will break on its own." "That's a good idea. If that's the case, let's not waste any more time. Wait until we break the formation, then we'll take care of that kid." The God Race soldiers had cold looks on their faces and began to attack the formation. Boom! Boom! Seeing the God Race soldiers' actions, Mo Qingyun and Mo's expressions changed. Their expressions turned grave. From the looks of it, these God Race soldiers had chosen the stupidest, most time-consuming, and most laborious method of breaking the array formation. However, there were so many Protoss soldiers here that it made sense to use this method. Looks like the situation I didn't want to see the most has finally happened. I hope these formations can last a little longer. Mo Qingyun had a solemn expression on his face as he watched the Divine Race soldiers brutally breaking through the formation. His heart was filled with anticipation. There was nothing he could do about the Divine Race soldiers breaking through the formation. All he could do was occasionally intervene. Next, try your best to interfere with them breaking the formation, but don't put yourself in too much danger. Looking at the situation outside, Mo Qingyun gave some instructions to Mo before entering the 5-directional pagoda. The current situation was already not something they could control. They could only hope that Murong Qinyu would complete the inheritance as soon as possible. When Mo Qinyun entered the five-directional small pagoda, Mo kept on releasing the soul spirit prison to interfere with the God Race soldiers trying to break the array formation. Due to the number of God Race soldiers being too many, Momo's interference effect was also not particularly significant. Soon after, under the attacks of the God Race soldiers, the formations were exhausted of their spiritual energy and collapsed one by one. As the formations were destroyed one by one, Momo kept on retreating bit by bit into the interior of the charming fairy pavilion. If this goes on, it won't work. Seeing the number of formations in the charming fairy pavilion dwindle, Momo's mood became heavier and heavier. In just a few days, the God Race soldiers had forcefully broken through nearly a kilometer of formations. At this rate, the formations in the charming fairy pavilion would not be able to stop them for 10 days. Fortunately, when the God Race soldiers encountered a level 4 formation, they stopped moving forward. Whether it was in terms of defense or recovery, a level 4 formation was not something a level 3 formation could compare to. Seeing the level 4 formation successfully stop the God Race soldiers, Momo's expression relaxed. The worry in his heart lessened a little. However, he did not completely relax. He still wore a solemn expression as he vigilantly watched the God Race soldiers' actions. At the entrance of the charming fairy pavilion, as time passed, the enchanting poisonous fragrance outside the palace of the enchanting fairies became even thinner. The charming poisonous fragrance has become even thinner. Major star rank powerhouses can enter now. Get the major star rank powerhouses to prepare. Instruct them to prepare to enter the charming fairy pavilion. From the looks of it, there'll still be a fierce battle to obtain the inheritance of the charming fairy pavilion. Everyone outside the charming fairy palace revealed expressions of anticipation when they saw that the charming poisonous fragrance had become thinner once again. Soon after, the various major factions sent their major star rank powerhouses to enter the charming fairy pavilion to compete for the inheritance. Junior brother Go, when you enter the charming fairy pavilion, regardless of whether you obtain the inheritance or not, you must ensure junior brother Mo's safety. Before Gu Linxing entered the charming fairy pavilion, Han Siluo had a solemn expression as she sternly instructed him. From this, it seemed that in Han Siluo's eyes, the inheritance of the charming fairy pavilion could not compare to Mo Qinyun. Senior brother Han, don't worry. As long as I'm still breathing, I'll definitely bring junior brother Mo back. Hearing Han Siluo's instructions, Gu Linxing had a solemn expression as he patted his chest and promised Han Siluo. Seeing Gu Linxing's attitude, Han Siluo and the others nodded in satisfaction and instructed Gu Linxing again. Soon after, Gu Linxing no longer hesitated and entered the charming fairy pavilion with everyone. When Gu Linxing entered the enchantment fairy palace, on the side of the divine race, Neimon had a solemn expression. He looked at a youth with a golden crown and said, "Fifth Prince, this trip to the enchantment fairy palace, no matter if you can obtain the inheritance or not, you must kill that Mo Qinyun. Commander Neimon, you don't have to worry about this. I won't forget about my seventh brother's revenge." Hearing Commander Neymon's words, the fifth prince replied coldly. He then led the God Race soldiers into the charming fairy pavilion. When the God Race soldiers entered the charming fairy pavilion, the East Dawn Immortal Palace and the Frost Immortal Palace made the same plan. Junior brother Lu Tan, junior sister Chen Pailan, when you enter the charming fairy pavilion this time, your primary mission is to kill Mo Qinyun. That's right. Mo Qinyun's talent is monstrous. We can't let him continue to grow. As long as Mo Qinyun dies, the Eternal South Immortal Palace will have no chance to rise. When Gu Linxing enters the charming fairy pavilion, he will definitely do his best to protect Mo Qinyun. You must be wary of him. Before everyone entered the charming fairy pavilion, the constellation experts of the East Dawn Immortal Palace and the Frost Immortal Palace gave them instructions. Senior brothers and senior sisters, don't worry. Even with Gu Linxing protecting Mo Qingyun must die this time. Hearing the instructions, Lu Tan and Chun Pailan's expressions darkened as they promised everyone. Chapter 1401. Charming Fairy Pavilion inside the array. Junior brother Mo, we can't go on like this. These arrays will be destroyed sooner or later. We can't just sit and wait like this. Why don't we charge out and cover junior brother Mo? We can try this. As long as junior brother Mo can stay alive, it's worth it even if we have to sacrifice our lives. Junior brother Mo, get ready. We'll cover your escape now. Seeing that the situation was getting worse, Shi Meng and the rest were determined to charge out and fight with their lives on the line. In his heart, Mo Qingyun's life was the most important. He was the future hope of the Eternal South Immortal Palace. As long as Mo Qingyun could stay alive, the Eternal South Immortal Palace would have hope of rising again. Thank you for your kind intentions, senior brothers. Seeing Shi Meng and the rest's actions, Mo was touched. He shook his head and said, however, before my friend finishes refining, I won't leave. Also, I won't let you take the risk for me. But, seeing that Mo wasn't willing to leave, Shi Meng panicked and was about to continue persuading Mo. Before Shi Meng could say anything, Mo raised his hand and interrupted him. He said, Senior brothers, don't worry. With just these gods' tribe soldiers, they won't be able to stop me if I want to leave. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shi Meng and the rest were shocked. They were surprised by Mo's confidence. However, they didn't doubt Mo's words. They felt that since Mo said so, he should have some confidence. Because, from what they knew about Mo Qingyun wasn't the kind of person who would make irresponsible remarks. After knowing Mo's thoughts, Shi Meng and the rest didn't think too much and waited for Mo's instructions. After Mo comforted Shi Meng and the rest, he continued to interfere with the gods' tribe soldiers outside the array to reduce their speed. Then, time passed bit by bit. As time passed, more and more array formations were broken. Now, the area covered by the array formations in the charming fairy pavilion was only about 4,000 meters. However, the grade of the array formations in this area was much stronger than the ones before. Moreover, among these formations there were some advanced level 4 formations that were not so easy to break. At the very least, with the current strength of the Shen clan outside the array, they did not have the ability to break the array. Soon after, the God tribe's advance was blocked by the level 4 array. Seeing that the God race had stopped breaking the array, Shi Meng and the others relaxed. They were finally safe for now. At this moment, just as Shi Meng and the others relaxed, a large group of people rushed over. These people were Gu Linxing and the others from the Eternal South Immortal Palace. Senior brother Gu and the others are here. We're saved. Fortunately, we didn't rush out rashly. Otherwise, even if Gu Linxing came, it would be useless. With senior brother Gu and the others taking action, these God race soldiers are dead for sure. Seeing the arrival of Gu Linxing and the others, Shi Meng and the others were immediately overjoyed, feeling that they would be saved. Celestial soldiers? When Gu Linxing and the others saw the God race soldiers, their faces darkened. They immediately charged towards the God race soldiers. These God race soldiers were only in the Lesser Star realm. Facing Gu Linxing and the others, they immediately became lambs waiting to be slaughtered. In a short while, the God race soldiers outside the array were all killed by Gu Linxing and the others. Gu Linxing and the others killed the God race soldiers. Like the God race soldiers, they prepared to break the array. Senior brother Gu, please stay your hand. Seeing that Gu Linxing was about to break the array, Mo's expression immediately panicked. He hurriedly shouted to Gulinxing, "These arrays were all set up by me. They are quite useful to me. You guys follow me into the array first." Hearing Mo's instructions, Gulinxing and the others stopped and followed Mo into the array. When Gulinxing and the others entered the array, they saw Meng and the others. Understanding smiles appeared on their faces. Seeing that Meng and the others were fine, they were completely relieved. After exchanging a few pleasantries with Meng and the others, Gulinxing revealed a solemn expression and said to Mo, "Junior brother Mo, the greater Star Realm experts of the various large factions have all entered the charming fairy palace. Although I didn't break the array, I'm afraid it won't be able to stop the people of the various large factions. I'm very clear about this point in my heart." Hearing Gulinxing's words, Mo didn't deny it. He nodded with a faint smile and said, "Actually, my true goal is to stall for time so that my friend can cultivate in peace and successfully refine the treasure she obtained." "I see." Hearing Mo's words, Gulinxing revealed a look of understanding. He knew Mo's true intentions and said in a deep voice, "Junior brother Mo, what do you need us to do? Just tell us directly." "Many thanks, senior brothers and sisters." Seeing the attitude of Gulinxing and the others, Mo's expression immediately lit up. He instructed them, "Senior brothers, what you need to do now is to do your best to prevent the other factions from breaking the array." "Alright." Hearing Mo's instructions, Gulinxing and the others immediately nodded and prepared to prevent the other large factions from breaking the array. At this moment, a large group of people arrived at the entrance of the charming fairy pavilion. "Senior brother Lu Tan and senior sister Chen Pailan are here." Seeing the people in front of them, Hu Gui and the others at the entrance of the charming fairy pavilion were pleasantly surprised and welcomed them. Soon, Hu Gui and the others arrived in front of Lu Tan and the others with a wronged expression and said, "Senior brother Lu Tan, senior sister Chen Pailan, you're finally here. You must seek justice for our dead brothers." "Hu Gui, what exactly happened?" Hearing Hu Gui's words, Lu Tan's face darkened and he hurriedly asked Hu Gui. Hearing Lu Tan's question, Hu Gui didn't dare to hide anything and quickly reported to Lu Tan, "Senior brother Lu Tan, this is what happened. A disciple of the Eternal South Immortal Palace called Mo Qinyun set up a large number of arrays in the charming fairy pavilion to prevent the other large factions from searching for the treasure." Following that, Hu Gui recounted what had happened in a praiseworthy manner. "What? Mo Qinyun killed all the juniors of the Immortal Tribe factions?" Hearing Hu Gui's story, everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. From what they knew, Mo Qinyun wasn't even at the true immortal realm. He didn't seem to have the strength to do so. "Hu Gui, as far as we know, Mo Qinyun is only at the immortal infant stage, right? With his cultivation, I'm afraid he doesn't have the ability to do so." Hearing Hu Gui's story, someone immediately looked doubtful and felt that Hu Gui's words weren't true. Hearing this person's doubtful words, the other large factions all nodded in agreement. They also thought that Mo Qinyun didn't have the strength to do so. Chapter 1402. Looking at Hu Gui and the rest, the people from the various forces looked at each other and hesitated whether they should believe Hu Gui or not. In their opinion, Hu Gui's words were too far-fetched and the truth needed to be verified. It was the first time they had heard that a person in the immortal infant stage could be so powerful. After a short moment of hesitation, the people from the various forces left with Hu Gui and the rest. Although they did not believe Hu Gui's words, they still had to enter the charming fairy pavilion if they wanted to get the treasures of the charming fairy pavilion. Following that, the group entered the charming fairy pavilion and ventured deeper into the pavilion. After an hour, with Hu Gui and the rest leading the way, they came to the array and stopped moving forward. Looking at the array in front of them, Lu Tan and the rest were shocked. They were surprised by the level of the array. At this moment, the array in front of them had reached the intermediate stage of level 4. Facing such an array, even if an ordinary major star-level expert was trapped, the chances of breaking through the array would be very low. Of course, although the array was powerful, it would not last long against the attacks of so many people. Intermediate stage of level 4 array. Seeing the level of the array in front of them, the people from the various forces frowned and believed Huguet's words a little. Intermediate stage of level 4 array is enough to trap and kill a major star-level expert. Looks like Huguet's words are true. That's right. Since Mo Qingyun can set up an intermediate stage of level 4 array, he does have the ability to kill the people from the various forces. Humph. This Mo Qingyun has the guts to challenge the forces of the 3 immortal realms. Everyone, don't hesitate. Let's join forces to break the array and then kill this Mo Qingyun. After knowing the cause of the death of the people from their forces, the people from the various forces did not want to delay. They could not wait to kill Mo Qingyun. Looking at the reactions of the people from the various forces, Lu Tan and the rest smiled disdainfully and mocked them in their hearts. Just a moment ago, these people were still doubting Huguet's words. Now they could not wait. This huge change in attitude was really ironic. In that case, let's join forces to break the array. Although Lu Tan and the others were mocking the major forces in their hearts, they did not show it. They were ready to attack together with the major forces. Without the help of the major forces, it would be very difficult for the East Dawn Celestial Palace and the Ice Frost Celestial Palace to break the formation. After everyone had finished their discussion, they began to attack and break the formation in front of them. Boom, boom, boom. Under the attacks of Lu Tan and the others, a series of loud sounds immediately rang out, causing the entire charming fairy pavilion to shake. Sensing the commotion outside, Gu Linxing and the others inside the array were startled and immediately put up their guard. Junior brother Mo, the people from the various powers are here. What should we do now? After hearing that the various large factions had arrived, Gu Linxing looked quite serious and asked Mo about his current plans. Hearing Gu Linxing's question, Mo muttered to himself for a moment before instructing them, "Since that is the case, senior brothers and sisters, follow me and stop them." "All right." Gu Linxing and the others nodded. Subsequently, Gu Linxing, and the others moved to stop Lu Tan and the others. Soon, streaks of imposing sword radiance and saber shadows blasted out from the array. The attacks of the sword radiance and saber shadows blasted out from the array and immediately hit the group of people. Bang, bang, bang. After being hit by the sword radiance and saber shadows, these people were instantly sent flying. They fell to the ground with pale faces and lost their combat strength. Seeing this scene, Lu Tan and the others felt their hearts tremble, and a sense of lingering fear rose in their hearts. The attacks just now were powerful enough to threaten a major star pinnacle expert. Even if they were hit, they would not have a good ending. They would not be able to break the array in a short period of time. They did not expect that the array set up by Mo Qingyun could unleash such a powerful attack. After a short period of shock and confusion, Lu Tan put on a grave expression and immediately thought of a possibility. "Everyone, be careful. If I am not wrong, the attacks in the array just now should have been launched by Gu Linxing and the others. Because of the array's attacks, if you did not enter the array, it would not be able to hurt you. The attacks just now were clearly an active attack, and could not have been launched by the array. Therefore, there was only one possibility. Gu Linxing and the others were also in the array, and were assisting Mo Qingyun to protect the array." Hearing Lu Tan's warning, the people from the various forces trembled, and fear appeared on their faces. They knew how powerful Gu Linxing was. He was invincible among those below the constellation stage. Because of their fear of Gu Linxing, the major forces were obviously more cautious when they attacked. Subsequently, the efforts of the major forces to break the array weakened. Seeing that the major forces' efforts to break the array weakened, Mo smiled faintly. This way they could buy more time. Soon, the two sides were in a stalemate. One side was trying to break the array while the other side was defending in the array and waiting for an opportunity to kill the enemy. Because of the difference in numbers, the array was still being broken one by one. Looking at the current situation, the array inside the charming fairy pavilion can probably last for another half a month. Seeing the array being broken one by one, Mo's expression was solemn. He calculated in his heart and thought to himself, I hope that Chinyu can refine the heart of charm within half a month. Otherwise, I can only bring her and everyone to escape. Mo was very clear in his heart that even though Gu Linsheng and the others were powerful, they could not stop the people of the major forces. Many times, imagination and reality were very different. There would always be some unforeseen event. Just as Mo was calculating in his heart, a large group of people charged into the charming fairy pavilion and quickly came behind Lu Tan and the others. The divine race. Seeing these people coming, Lu Tan and the others' expressions tightened and they stopped attacking the array. Then, Lu Tan and the others became alert and guarded against the divine race's sneak attack. They had no choice. The divine race's strength was not weaker than theirs. The threat to them was too great. If the divine race sneak attacked them while they were breaking the array, their outcome would be miserable. Therefore, no matter how much they wanted to kill Mo Qinyun, they had no choice but to stop. The divine race is here. Seeing the divine race, Mo's expression froze. Then, a faint smile appeared on his lips. If the divine race and Lu Tan start fighting, this will be interesting. However, this time, Momo was disappointed. When the divine race and the various major factions people met, they did not immediately take action to kill each other. Immortals, how about we make a deal? The fifth prince's expression was dark. He glanced at Lu Tan and the others and spoke his mind. We will help you break the array. Then, you will hand Mo Qinyun over to me. How about that? You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.